Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Pierre Labarge Stadium at DeSmet Jesuit High School. The Tim Kylo broadcast booth is on the road tonight as the cadets pay a visit to the Spartans of DeSmet Jesuit High School. We want to thank you for joining us here on the Cadet Student Network. My name is Tom Eichwald. I'll be bringing you the game alongside me, Mr. Pete Demos. Mr. Demos, nice to have you with us.
Thank you. Nice to be here, Tom.
So as we get set for this one, very different story for both of these teams coming in. CBC, of course, off to a phenomenal start this season. DeSmet not certainly off to the start they would like. Let's focus on CBC a little bit right now. Stellar start to the season. Have absolutely been obliterating teams early in games and throughout games. What has gotten CBC to the point they're at, Pete?
Well, you see the signs on television. You see the signs along the side of the road, speed kills. And CBC has a phenomenal amount of speed. Unfortunately, we don't have one of our speed burners tonight. Out with a hamstring. Trey Bryant will not play. He's not suited up. He's not dressed tonight, so that's going to hurt CBC somewhat. Outside of that, we still have the other speed guys, and I'm sure they're going to take advantage of some of the maybe, I don't want to say lack of speed of DeSmet, but there's hardly any teams that I've seen, and perhaps you've seen as yet, that can keep up with the amount of speed that CBC does have.
And that is, folks, not just on offense, but in every phase of the game. You talk about the speed on offense. We mentioned Trey Bryant. But certainly a ton of speed on defense, not only in the secondary, but also up front in the line, the linebackers, and on special teams as well. We talk about the special teams this year has really been one of the stories of the year. It starts with the kicking from Caleb Meinzer, which has been outstanding, and also Mike Millian has run one back in almost every game. So what does that do for you as a team when you have special teams that are performing at that level?
Well, it does give you that nice little edge. It gives you that head start. It gives you the good position on the field. It also takes momentum away from the other team. I mean, if you're expecting that Meisner can kick this ball out of the end zone pretty much every single time, your opponent is starting on the 20 instead of the 35 or the 40, or for that matter, maybe they run it back. That is just a tremendous advantage to have a kicker like Meisner. I went to the game over at Lindenwood last night. There wasn't one kick that went out of the end zone, and that's a D2 team. I mean, they have big guys from everywhere. And nobody was kicking that ball out of the end zone. And yet we have a high school kicker that does it each and every time.
So on the flip side, Pete, for DeSmet, obviously we were talking to Coach Mahoney before the game, and certainly it hurts to lack some of the talent that they've had and some of the explosiveness that they've had in recent years. You talk about players who've been
on the field. I don't know how they're going to stop the speed that CBC has. They're starting like 7 sophomores. They lost 10 seniors from their team last year. I think it's going to be very, very difficult. They're going to try to slow CBC down with various formations, probably long huddles. They're going to do everything they possibly can, similar to what basketball teams do. They'll try to slow the game down to keep the score down so they can stay in the game longer. I don't know how successful they're going to be. I don't know that they've even faced a team with the spread offense and the speed, the passing, and the balanced attack that CBC has. So I doubt that they're going to be able to do much tonight.
And I would imagine you'd really think that the more they can try to keep CBC off the field, keep them on defense, maybe run it at them, try to wear them down a little bit, and just take time off the clock on the offensive side for DeSmet, maybe you can take some of the possession away and some of the chances away for CBC. So certainly will be interesting to see how DeSmet approach that tonight.
Well, Coach Mahoney does have a nice attitude about this game. He's basically saying, okay, we're going to devise schemes and plays and strategy according to who we have playing for us. If you haven't got a great quarterback and some great receivers, then your passing attack is not going to be there. You're going to do as best you can with running. But he was basically saying, we really are kind of in a rebuilding year, although he was reluctant to say that. I don't see CBC having a very difficult time, although I have seen upsets in my life, as you have, and you just never know. We can't go into a game overconfident.
And as we set up for the opening kickoff, CBC will receive Alex Viviano in back, as well as Jarvis Rembert, with Mike Millian right in front of them. So any short kick, Mike Millian will look to get on it. And as we see the opening kick here from Kyle Bennett, we will be underway. And there it is. And it is a short kick right in the arms of Mike Millian. I don't think that's the guy you want to put it right in the hands of. Millian goes to his right side. He's got some open space. Good special teams tackle there. It looked like number 22, Chris Moore, the first Spartan to lay a hand on him. So a nice tackle from Chris Moore. That could have been really, really dangerous for Mike Million.
Well, that was an intentional short kick, and they were just wanting to not give CBC a head of steam to go up and down the field. They've seen CBC in action before, and I think they fear the long return, as we've seen many times already this season.
And so CBC takes the field for the first time. It will be Blake Charlton back there at quarterback. And they got a two-back set in the shotgun. And they're going to hand it off. This time it's Lamar Anderson, comes around this left-hand side, cuts back, gets close to a first down. It looks like he's going to get it. They're spotting it just ahead of the first down, so that's a gain of 10. And it'll be a CBC first down. So good read option there, hand off to Lamar. And that's a good way to start things for CBC.
Well, like all speed backs, they look at the corner, and if the other team can't keep up, they say, hey, it's Christmas time. And that was a nice little 10-yard gain to start out the game.
And similar formation here. Charlton takes the snap, hands it off to Lamar Anderson again, who cuts around to that right side again, and he is tracked down nicely there by the number 10, that was Cooper Harrison for DeSmet. A nice tackle from Cooper.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened on that play. It looked like he was going off tackle, but then he stopped and spun out to the right. I haven't seen that all year. I'm going to have to say that's almost a broken play there.
And that is a play we've seen over and over and over again, especially with Blake Charlton in the read option. So many options available to you, and really in the last couple of years, as we get some flags on the field here, in the last couple of years it's become more and more a part of the high school game, not just the college game, not just the professional game, but really starting to make its presence felt in the high school game as well.
An offsides penalty of 5 yards. That gets back the loss plus a little bit more from the previous play.
So it'll be 2nd and 9 for CBC.
I think CBC will miss Trey Bryant tonight. We'll have to see how it goes.
Charlton takes the snap, hands it off. And a good run over there on the right-hand side. That was Caleb Allen. We'll see a lot of him tonight.
Yeah, he's taking Trey's place tonight.
And one of the nicest kids you'll ever meet is Caleb Allen, but according to his coaches, you wouldn't know that by the way he runs. He runs angry, folks. You do not want to get in his way, which is a tremendous attribute for a younger running back especially.
Yeah, an angry back with speed is something to be feared.
It's something you don't want to do without. And Charlton drops back. He throws it underneath to Caleb Allen, who will have the first down and then some. He is through into the secondary, and he's brought down on the inside of the 10-yard line. That was a nice tackle from Brian Pandolfo. But there you see Caleb Allen in the flat, getting the ball with space and punishing DeSmet for letting him have it. You see, it looks effortless right now for CBC. And here it is. Charlton's going to hand it off.
You know, I always wonder. There was a slip, and I always wonder about these short cleats on this field. I walked on this field originally. I'm always worried a little bit about, we don't use the screw-in cleats anymore.
Right.
And quarter-inch and half-inch. Now we got these little things that are under a half-inch, and I see more slipping and on this field turf so much these days.
And this is Mike Million inside the 5, and he's going to be brought down. He drops the ball.
I think he was down.
But he was down, they say. Lamar Anderson had it anyway. But you see the pass from Charlton. That was Caleb Allen on the slip we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But again, Mike Million is a player that if you with space in the flat, much like Reggie Bush in his early days of his career.
Yeah.
And now dropping back is Charlton, and receiver couldn't bring it in. That was an intended pass for Cameron Curtis. Couldn't quite bring it in, and the field goal unit will come on to try to put 3 on the board for CBC.
Well, somewhat of a moral victory for DeSmet on that.
It is. It is. And this is Caleb Meinzer on to take it. Benji Gormley, the long snapper, and Tyler England, the holder. That unit that's been very effective so far this season. There's the snap, the hold, and the kick is good. He doesn't miss many, especially from that range.
Nope.
He drains 35-yarders like they're nothing. And that is a field goal. So CBC up 3-0 with 9:38 to go in the first quarter. Your thoughts on that first drive, Pete?
Yeah, I thought it was a little shaky here and there. A penalty, somewhat, a slip on the field, a pass that was perhaps thrown a little bit too hard. I think they're just kind of getting in the groove, so to speak. We'll have to see how it goes, but we'll see what the defense goes against DeSmet's offense now.
Yeah, and of course there's a lot of time left, but what you don't want to do is have a couple drives like that where you don't really get it clicking, because then all of a sudden, the more, as the dominant team, for the most part, CBC, the more you have those kind of stutters early on, the more and more belief you put into the DeSmet team that's coming into this knowing what they're up against. So you certainly don't want to have too many more possessions like that early in this game, because all that does is give belief, I would imagine, to the Spartans.
Yeah, you don't want to give them the idea that they can hang in there with you. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll have to see. Well, again, I've seen all kinds of football games in my life, and I've seen some gross underdogs come out on top. So DeSmet had better mind themselves somewhat.
And here is Caleb Meinzer. You're going to get to see the power he's got in that right leg.
It's 5-2 that'll kick it out of the end zone.
And he drills it, and it's caught in the end zone, which is a touchback at the high school game.
Surprise.
I think the only time in the game against Chaminade, Vianney a couple weeks ago, the only time the ball didn't start at the 20 was when it dribbled out of bounds on him at the 1-yard line instead of crossing. So they started at the 40. So certainly a part of Caleb's game that is noticeable to anyone watching. And here we get our first look at this DeSmet offense and the CBC defense. They're going to come out in an two-back formation. And the inside handoff. The handoff was to Brian Pandolfo. And looks like a gain of 1.
Quarterback is Andrew Effer. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Eifer or Effer. He's 6'3", 190 pounds.
What a beautiful night it is for football, Pete.
It truly is. Kind of wish I was down there playing. No, maybe not.
I'll do all right with announcing.
All right.
All right, here's Effer dropping back. A little, maybe slightly underthrown, but to be fair, CBC had that pretty well defended. Eric Carrera was drifting over, and there were already 2 defenders over there, so not exactly a high percentage throw with some good safety play from CBC.
Well, that was Griffin Palmer, and he was going for the high point. He actually had the ball in both of his hands, and as he came down, it kind of dribbled out. I didn't see a defender knock it out. I'm not sure he shouldn't have had that ball. You get 2 hands on the ball, you should bring that in, and it should be a catch.
3rd down and 8 for DeSmet. 3rd and 8 for DeSmet here. Certainly don't want to start with a 3 and out here, so.
Boy, they have a huge right guard or right tackle.
He's a big boy.
He sure is. I don't have his name on here.
And we are going to get a flag here. A lot of jumping down there. We'll see who moved first. That was the offense moving first, so a 3rd and 8 becomes a lot longer.
That's DeAndre Hayes. He's 6'6", 420 pounds. That's like 3 of us.
Wow.
420 pounds.
All I know is there's probably going to be some sore defensive linemen after this game for CBC.
I mean, that's like 3 players.
It is. Effer's throw is just out of bounds. They're going to swallow their pride there.
He just threw it away.
Yeah.
He,
cut their losses, punt it away.
Yeah.
Well, we have a second here. The Cadet Student Network would like to say hello to the class of 1989, who is celebrating their 25th reunion tonight. Thank you for tuning in to CSN during your celebration. And thanks to the CBC Alumni Association for their support and sponsorship of the Cadet Student Network. So class of 89, congratulations on your anniversary, and we hope you are enjoying the broadcast.
Right after this play, I'll see if I can't give the starting lineups for CBC.
Here's the punt. Tyler England was in on it, couldn't quite get on it. And this one is going to be downed by DeSmet inside the CBC half, but CBC will get to start with the ball at their own 42, which is not bad field position, and certainly CBC can work with that, about where they started on the first possession as well. So 8:38 to go, CBC up 3-0 here.
And on offense, our starters tonight, Max Durrell, left guard Ty Feeney, center Nino Schmidt, right guard Jack Bertolucci, right tackle John Chamberlain. Tight end is Jack Orban. Wide receivers Curtis Cameron and Mike Million. Running backs Lamar Anderson, Caleb Allen, and Caleb Taylor. We have a Kalen and a Caleb attack tonight. At quarterback, Blake Charlton.
And here is Charlton. He's going to hand it off to Allen, who gets nowhere. Actually, no, he fooled us too. Charlton held on to that ball.
I think he fooled you.
Yeah, he fooled me. I don't know about you, Pete. He had me, folks. And that is a gain of, looks like 6.
Yeah, that was
so
Blake.
It's going to be 2nd and 4. And here he's going to drop back and let one fly if he can. And he is tackled by a pair of defenders for DeSmet. That was number 72, Andrew Winter.
Blake has got to throw that ball away. He can't hold on to that. It was good coverage downfield. That was a coverage sack.
And now Charlton is back with a running back to his left, 3 receivers to his left. And that's where he's looking. Fires one to Cameron Curtis. Curtis brings it in for a first down. So that's a first down for CBC, and they are now on the DeSmet 43 with 7:39 to go.
A nice accurate throw, a nice catch by Cameron with really good hands. It didn't let it come into his body and bounce off.
And a good quick release from Charlton. He took the sack on one, released it nice and quick on that second throw. And this time a quick throw out into the flat to Mike Million. And he is brought out of bounds just past the first down marker by number 19 for DeSmet, Drew McCoy. Nice tackle from Drew. So
he was kind of pulled down by the back of his shirt. I have seen that, call that a horse collar these days. I'm not sure I like that tackle there.
Something to keep an eye on for certain as the game develops. And here is Caleb Allen. Seems like CBC getting 3-4 yard gains without too much effort on a consistent basis. A couple tackles for loss. Don't want to take that away from DeSmet, but seems to be a theme. CBC still up 3-0. 7:25 to go here in the first quarter.
Well, they just changed the play.
Yeah, coach is calling in an audible there. And Charlton takes the snap. Fakes the throw out to the right. Here's Lamar Anderson trying to get just past the line of scrimmage, and he is going to pick up a gain of, it looks like 4, maybe 5. So it's going to be 3rd and short for CBC. Actually, 3rd and 6. And here is Charlton. Takes the snap.
Nice throwing catch.
Good option. And a good hit there. That was, looked like it was Jarvis Rembert on the catch. And a nice turn and run, and that is a first down for CBC. So CBC knocking on the door again. The second time in the first quarter so far they have been in the red zone. First time they had to settle for a field goal. Charlton keeps it. He's going to run up the middle. He's going to pick up a few.
That's that read option there where you give it to the running back's belly, and if somebody's there, you take it back, and you're on your own up the middle.
And I don't know what percentage of the plays that CBC has run this year on offense have been read option, but there has been a lot of it. And you wonder, nobody's really had an answer for it so far, but you wonder what happens later in the season if you go up against a team that understands it and that plays it well. I mean, it's going to be certainly a test for CBC when they come across a team that can fend it well.
Well, if I was coaching the defense on that, I would have a bird dog or somebody assigned to tackle the quarterback every single time. Make him pay for that, and unfortunately sometimes they don't, that read option. And also that read option is, there's some sort of an option just about on every play.
Right. One of the benefits of having so much skill on your offensive side that CBC has. Here's Charlton, throws it in the corner of the end zone, going up for the catch, and that is a touchdown for CBC. The catch brought in by a player wearing a shirt with a very small number on it, a long way away. That was Mike Million. bringing down the catch. He is no stranger to the end zone. He has been in there plenty this year, and a nice catch from Michael, and a good job of getting his feet inbound. So CBC kicking an extra point to go up 10-0.
He was at least 3 feet in the air to get that ball.
He
really got the high point on that ball.
He is an impressive athlete.
He certainly is.
And Meinzer puts it through, so that is going to be 10-0 for CBC. Much better red zone possession there.
Yep.
A good throw from Charlton and a good catch from Mike Millian. So CBC up to a 10-point lead. Cadet fans, we do want to ask you in the lull here, are you protected? Call State Farm agent and CBC alum Tim Kylo for all your insurance needs. Tim is more than just the best insurance guy in town. He's also the presenting sponsor of CSN, and we are incredibly grateful for his support. Call Tim at 314-842-4442 or send him an email at tim@timkylo.com. That's Tim, K-I-L-O.com. Thank you, Tim, for all that you do for CBC and for CSN. And also, Pete, we mentioned the class of 1989 joining us, hopefully enjoying the broadcast so far, certainly something to enjoy. All alums are welcome to join us for the upcoming Alumni Weekend. Thursday, October 2nd is the Banquet and Hall of Fame induction, followed by the trip to, or the game against, home game against St. Louis U on Friday, October 3rd. The weekend concludes Sunday with Mass at 9 a.m. and a Park at noon. To find out more, go to cbchs.org and call Alumni Relations Director Joe Gunn. We'll give you his number in a second. A good return there for DeSmet off the kick. You don't see that brought out of the end zone returned. And that was Marcus Davis on the return. So if you're interested in more on the alumni events coming up, call Alumni Relations Director Joe Gunn at 985-6098. So 5:20 to go here in the first quarter. CBC up to a 10-0 lead. DeSmet looking to get a few back here.
Yeah, Caleb didn't really hit that ball perfectly like he normally did that time, and it landed on about the 10. He picked it up and gave him a chance. And now they're on their 34-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like it. And they have split backs back there, and there's a handoff. Absolutely nothing there.
That back took off to the right. I was afraid that he was just so slow.
That was Matt Bruns, who didn't really have anything going there.
I was afraid the umpire was going to call a delay a game on that one. You can't. You have to have some quick feet. I'm just surprised that they don't have some backs with some quicker feet out there tonight.
And that's probably part of the lack of explosiveness that Coach Mahoney was talking about.
Now these kids, as they grow up and fill out and hit the weight room and what, they will get quicker.
And there's, speaking of the youth, on both sides of the ball, there's only one returning starter from last year for DeSmet, so a very young team. And Effer is brought down. That's good special teams play there from Kevin Kirkbride. Comes up for the tackle for loss. And it's going to be 3rd and long for the Spartans.
I don't know if you saw some of the previous year's teams here, but they had some awful lot of speed on this team. Deron Neal, who plays for Oklahoma now, I mean, there was a sprinter, a world-class kind of a sprinter, and it was amazing to see him play with the speed. And of course, we tried to counter with Parker and some of the other kids that we had.
Antonio Davis was there as well.
Antonio, that's right.
Sorry, Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown is correct.
Touchdown,
yes.
Tony Brown.
Yeah, he's over at Emporia State right now.
And ball overthrown there. You can see Effer was looking for number 87. That was Griffin Palmer again. But CBC alert to it.
And it's 4th down. It looks like we're going to get a kick.
Another punt. Mike Millian back to return. And assuming DeSmet has watched a little bit of film, I think you want to try to avoid putting it in Mike Millian's hands on a punt return.
I kind of hope he does, Gary. I enjoy watching the kid run.
Oh, I do. I don't think Coach Mahoney would agree with you. I think he would probably enjoy it a little bit less than we would tonight. And here is the punt. It is a short one. Second kind of short punt in a row. Everybody back away from it, and it will be downed by DeSmet at the CBC 34. So the deepest starting position for the Cadets tonight. Didn't seem to bother him last time, starting from the 43. So we'll get another look at this CBC offense with 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go here in the first quarter. CBC up 10-0. Of course, if you're just joining us, CBC in the visiting white. They're going right to left across your screen, and DeSmet in the familiar maroon going left to right.
I thought Coach Mahoney was very gracious tonight.
He was.
Very pleasant.
Always have to be careful approaching a coach for a pregame interview.
Sure.
They're always busy trying to get their team ready. He took all the time in the world for us. It was really, really a pleasant conversation. So we certainly thank him for his graciousness, and also DeSmet for being good hosts for us over the years, and tonight's no exception. And the handoff to Caleb Allen for a gain of what looks like about 5. And again, we're seeing almost every time there's a handoff, it's a 4-yard gain or so. So CBC going no huddle again, something we've become very familiar with this year and over the last few years. And there is a change at quarterback to tell you about as Caleb Allen gets brought down there close to a first down, but I don't think he'll get it. This is Jack Even coming in. We've seen Jack Even and Blake Charlton switch off some time this year. Some of the differences between them, Pete, just as quarterbacks.
Well, I get the feeling that Coach Pingle, since we lost Tyler Kreth in the middle of the season last year, he wants to have a backup quarterback with some experience. I think that's a huge advantage to have these days when we do so much of the read options and the quarterbacks are running.
And here is the handoff. It's Caleb Allen again. That's what you see when we're talking about an angry runner. You see breaks one tackle, keeps going, and pushes the pile a couple extra yards. And that is an excellent run from Caleb, who's had a pretty good workload so far tonight. We haven't seen Kalen Taylor too much, but he's been bearing the brunt of the load for CBC so far.
I haven't really seen Taylor in there at all.
I don't think he has been. If he has, he's been over on the other side of quarterback, and we haven't seen him. But it looks like Lamar Anderson's over there right now.
Where is number 4?
And we're set to go here. And Even takes a snap, takes a hit. Excellent hands there from Jarvis Rembert. He's going to turn it back outside. That is a big gain for CBC. The ball was out, but and it looks like it was a live ball when it came out. So this is going to be a first down for CBC again inside the red zone there at the DeSmet 19.
Well, we're so used to seeing blocks in the back and holding and what have you. I saw a remarkable almost block that would have been a block in the back, and he held off very well. And I was very pleased to see that.
And here's Even. He hands it off to Caleb Allen, who spins away from a few, and he is down to the 10-yard line, almost with another first down. I would think that was a gain of probably 9. So it'll be second and very short here.
Running like an Ohio State fullback, wouldn't you agree?
Running like somebody I would not want to be in front of. And there's a quick pass over the middle, and it is Jack Even to Jack Orban.
Yep.
So the two Jacks combine, and that is a touchdown for CBC. So pending the extra point, could be a 17-0 lead here with 2:11 to go in the first quarter. Another impressive drive from CBC, Pete.
Yeah, CBC just has too much speed, too much strength, too much everything for this beginning team. DeSmet, I think they're going to meet the challenge tonight.
And the extra point is good, so it is 17 for CBC. Well, it's 2 consecutive weeks now that CBC has put a running clock on the opposition in the first half.
Better known as a mercy clock?
Yeah, the mercy clock.
Mercy clock, yeah.
A 35-point lead is the rule. They hit it against Vianney with about 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, and against Chaminade with about a minute to go. So we're halfway there, and obviously a lot of football to play.
I think they can put that clock in until a certain time. Is it the fourth quarter?
No, we've had a running clock the whole second half for these games, and I believe they've even run it at the end of the first half as well. Now, granted that the game against Vianney, at least, was in a cold rain, so that might have been a little bit creative clock keeping on the part of Vianney. Who knows?
Let me give the starting lineup for the CBC defense here. On the defensive line, we got Quinton Wynn, Kevin Williams, Miles Taylor, and Kevin Kirkbride. Linebackers, Mike Jones, Alex Wardenberg, Clayton Stalling. at the DBs, Hunter Robinson in for Damian Baker, Rashawn Davis, Eric Carrera, and Sean Boyd.
And folks, there is no less speed on that defense than there is on the offense.
No, there truly is not.
So every phase of the game, CBC dominating their opposition so far this year. As we see Meinzer get set for the kick. Kind of mishit a little bit that last time. No mishit there.
Nope.
That's halfway deep in the end zone on the fly. So I figured he'd put his laces through it after slightly miskicking one.
You know, the trajectory of that kick, the trajectory is not a real sky ball. It's low, and it's hard, and it's in the end zone.
Well, he's a soccer player, and from day one as a soccer player, what you're taught is that when you're kicking the ball for power, you want to keep your head down, keep your body over it to shape over it so you get that piercing trajectory. It really is a soccer ball flight that he carries over nicely in football.
Reminds me of a Tiger Woods 3-iron knockdown.
The old stinger shot.
Yeah, stinger, yes. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, I've tried hitting that shot. Turns out you got to have some pretty strong muscles to hit that.
Well, I can hit that once, and then I have to go to the hospital.
And here is Effer, back to throw. He scrambles away from pressure, tries to dump one off quick to Palmer. Correction, that's 97.
I don't even know if he was eligible. He must have been uncovered. He must be the tight end on that
That's
point.
John Ames, number 97 instead of the number 87.
Yes, number 97.
So John Ames listed on the roster as a tight end and defensive lineman.
Tight ends are always big, good-looking guys. You ever notice that?
Yep.
There's no weasel in them at all. Big, tough guys.
No weasel in them. I feel like that's a shirt every tight end should own. And Effer scrambles for a few.
Oh, yeah.
And inside of 2 minutes to go in the first quarter now.
So we got somebody down over here. Got a CBC player, and it looks like he's got a right ankle.
Yeah, I can't see a number on him yet.
44, it can't be Quinton. I think it's 44.
That was Quentin Wynn.
I think it is Quinton Wynn.
Not a player you want to see go down.
It's his right knee, or is it? Let me see. Right
It's
ankle.
like the lower leg there.
Yeah, it's Quinton. Can't afford to lose him for the playoffs.
Yeah, he's been a real impact player on the defense for CBC. His season pretty well encapsulated by 3 consecutive sacks on consecutive plays against Vianney earlier in the season.
Well, they're kind of massaging his calf. It's not a cramp.
Too early for a cramp.
Yeah. It looked like it might be one of those infamous high ankle sprains. We'll see.
We certainly
see how
hope.
much weight he's going to put on it when they get him up.
It's usually the first indicator.
Cannot afford to lose him. And Kristen Jeans, who is the trainer, is saying, "You're okay. Come on up." And let's see how much weight he puts on. No weight at all on that right ankle.
Nice.
A little bit.
No, he just tried putting a little bit, but it isn't going to work.
Well, sometimes we'll see. I hope it isn't a pull calf muscle. We'll have to find out. I'll find out what that is all about at halftime.
While we do have a second, we want to let you know that when you need an attorney, you want someone you can count on to protect your legal rights. The attorneys at Milliken Wright are here for you. Brian Milliken and CBC grad Chris Wright have fiercely represented the injured and accused in civil and criminal cases in the St. Louis metropolitan area for more than 15 years. Call Brian and Chris at 314-621-0622 or find Milliken Wright online at www.millikenwright.com. Milliken Wright will fight for you. So 1:45 to go here. DeSmet facing a 3rd and 7. Formation we've seen quite a few times from him already. Effer goes back to pass, and just a little bit out of sync there with Ryan Bosch. I think he threw it before Bosch turned and wasn't quite sure where the ball was going to be, so missed time there, miscommunication maybe, and it's going to be another punt for DeSmet. They have 1 first down so far in the game. Do they have one? Trying to think off the top of my head.
I don't know if they have one or not.
I think it's been 3 and out every time.
I think so. I've been watching number 79, that 420-pound kid. He's not exactly light-footed, but he does take up a lot of area. I'm surprised he's on offense. I would expect they would put somebody like him on defense to kind of plug everything up.
Well, you never know. In a goal line set or something, they might toss him in there every now and then.
I'm looking at him down in the field right here, and he's a big kid.
Yeah, that punt was fielded by Mike Million. Returned for a couple, but as soon as he grabbed it off the bounce, he was swallowed up pretty good by the coverage unit for DeSmet. And it's going to be 1st and 10 just inside of the DeSmet half. CBC looking to increase their lead. Minute and a half to go in the first quarter. And this is Charlton back in there. Takes a snap. Looks to fire. Good trajectory on that one to Lamar Anderson. Lamar Anderson's got it. In for a touchdown. That is Lamar Anderson with a touchdown for CBC.
I talked to Lamar sitting just down below us here before the game, and she was so excited about this game.
What a catch from Lamar there.
Oh.
I mean, it's a laser of a throw from
right.
Blake Charlton, which you'd expect from a guy with his arm. But just he took a hit right as he caught it. He bobbled it once or twice, was able to keep running and stay concentrated on the ball and hold on to it. That really is impressive.
Nice play. Well, that sequence took about, 3 plays? 2 plays?
Yep. And the extra point is good. So that is a touchdown for Lamar Anderson. So he's got one. Mike Million has one. And Cameron Curtis has one.
Three touchdowns and a field goal for 24-0. And we're still in the fourth quarter, are we not?
First quarter, yeah. 1:16 to go. So 24-0 for CBC. So class of '89, hope you're enjoying this one. While we have a second, we would like to thank all of our sponsors here on the Cadet Student Network, like the Lab Gym on Manchester Road, Millpaw's Piping and Supply, Let's Party Now Catering, and Guido's Pizza and Tapas. Pizzeria and Tapas. I'm getting my live reads confused here. These loyal businesses make this broadcast possible, so be sure to support our sponsors. The CBC Alumni Association and our admissions department also sponsor CSN, and we appreciate all their support. We hope you are enjoying the broadcast, folks. This is the Cadet Student Network. It certainly wouldn't be possible without a number of students who are working to make the broadcast possible tonight. We have our executive producer, of course, Bryson Schroeder, network manager Josh Williams as well. But working tonight, we got Charlie Hines, his older brother Henry, William Kratz, Max Adamski, and Tristan Bear, all making the broadcast possible. So we want to thank them for all that they do for us on the Cadet Student Network.
We got quite a...
And that one is bobbled, but it's in the end zone, doesn't matter.
Got quite a crowd around Quinton over there. Figure out what exactly is going on. They've got our team doctor and Kristen Jeans.
It's Dr. Benz over there. Dr. Benz, of course, a CBC dad as well. One of his sons was in my class. Son Steve was in my class, class of 2007 at CBC.
The doctor's quite an interesting guy to talk to. Have you ever talked to him at length?
Once or twice.
Yeah, he's a real CBC supporter, knows a lot about football.
And he's been our team doctor for quite some time.
Yep.
And a good relationship with the school. I want to thank him. And here's the handoff from Effer. And ball carrier doesn't get too far, but he's going to pick up 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was all plugged up the off right tackle. He bounced off of there, went around to the right for about a 4-yard gain.
It's good, powerful running from Pandolfo there. So inside of a minute now, clock winding down toward the conclusion of the first quarter. They're going to get another play or two off here. CBC's defense certainly doing the job so far. Look for another stop here to end the quarter. And DeSmet going with a very familiar formation at this point. And Effer rolling out to his left. And he's just going to, not sure if he slipped or took a slide there, but I don't think there's too much of a difference.
No, the pursuit was after him. He kind of stopped hoping that the pursuit would fly by him, and it didn't, and he kind of just fell to the ground in an act of self-preservation, I think.
Yeah, a good move from Effer, frankly, because he was about to get clobbered.
Well, one nice thing, I haven't seen any penalties on CBC so far. Have you?
No.
Which is somewhat unusual.
And really, there's only been, there was the offsides against
I think
one offsides for DeSmet and one false start for DeSmet has been all that we've seen tonight.
Yep.
And that is the end of the first quarter, so they will not get another one off. And it is 24-0 to CBC at the end of the first quarter. We're going to go to a quick word from some of our sponsors, and we will come back to bring you the second quarter here on the Cadet Student Network.
Call State Farm agent and CBC alum Tim Kylo for all your insurance needs. Tim and the State Farm team provide a full insurance review to make sure you and your family are covered at the best possible price. Whether it's auto, renters, home, business, or life insurance, for more than 23 years, Tim clients manage the risks of everyday life and realize their dreams. For all your insurance needs, contact one of our school's most loyal alums, Class of 77 graduate Tim Kylo at 314-842-4442 or send him an email, tim@timkylo.com.
CBC Athletic Director Rocky Shrub, and if you know me, you know I love to eat. One of my favorite spots is the Cafe Afton, the home of the CBC burger. The owner, Craig Smellick, is a huge CBC fan, and he always treats me right. Located on Gravois Road, the Cafe Afton is a great place to stop after a CBC hockey game, or for any occasion for that matter. Just ask my wife. I'm always looking for an excuse to pay Craig a visit at the Cafe Afton. I know you'll love it too. Please be sure to tell them that you...
And welcome back to Pierre Labard Stadium here on CSN. First play of the half. There was a run out to the side. We were kind of still shuffling up here in the booth. They got going pretty quickly here. And it is going to be 3rd and 12. Correction, 4th down, they're going to punt. It was 3rd and 12 before. They didn't gain the 12. Bad snap, took a bounce. Nice job by the punter to actually get something out. Mike Million catches it. That was a pretty quick thinking and athletic move from the punter there. That's Hunter Schoenig. I hope you're getting your name right, Hunter. But Hunter Schoenig did a nice job of scooping that off the bounce and kicking it anyway.
Some bad news for CBC fans. Quentin Wynn has got a huge amount of ice on his right ankle, and he's not coming back in this game. And let's hope that with some therapy and the hot tub and whatever else they do for ankles, that he'll be ready in a couple weeks.
And as we get set for CBC's first possession of the quarter here, CBC has the 47-yard line, or correction, the 48-yard line of DeSmet. And a quick underneath to Jarvis Rembert. Can't break the tackle of Brian Pandolfo, who's had a nice game playing both ways for DeSmet so far. He's had a couple nice runs. Granted, he hasn't had that too many opportunities, but he's had a number of nice tackles tonight. So CBC with a gain of 15 from the number 15, Jarvis Rembert. And Charlton drops back again. Fires it out to Lamar Anderson. Good hit there from DeSmet.
Yeah, they're calling that a catch and a fumble and a recovery.
I think that's...
he definitely had possession, so they're counting it as a catch, and then a fumble backwards and a recovery.
So it's going to count for a loss. Granted, the play didn't have too much promise to begin with because the corner was all over Lamar Anderson there.
Well, he's playing pretty tight. He's playing 2 yards off him, and it's really hard to have that quick. There's number 4.
There's Kalen Taylor.
That's right.
And his game.
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah. On 2nd and 19. Runs it up the gut and gets us back within striking range here. So it's going to be 3rd down, and it's looking like about 5 to go in the shotgun. And another handoff to Kalen, and he's got the first down before being brought down by his numerical counterpart there. That was the number 4, Isaac Williams, bringing him down. So a nice run from Kalen Taylor, his first action of the night. Now you can kind of see the thought, kind of maybe wear him down a little bit with Caleb Allen, running right up the gut, then throw the speed of Kalen Taylor in there as an offset to it.
Well, you know, that's kind of the style of Coach Pingle. He tends to kind of hold his cards close to the vest until he gets to that 3rd and 4th quarter, and by that time the other team's pretty tired.
And here is Allen. Well, it's something we're seeing. I wonder about the fitness of a team that runs this kind of offense. Because look at what Philadelphia, the Eagles, are doing so far this season. They've been so good late in games because they're wearing down the opposition and because their fitness is just so good from running so many plays. And you certainly see that from CBC. They're ready to go before the referee even sets the ball down. So you have to be in great shape to do that. And there's no way as a defensive unit you can stand up to 4 quarters of that and not be showing some effects.
Well, remember, the defense gets more tired than the offense. The offense knows where they're going. The defense doesn't, and they have to be ultra quick to try to stay up, and consequently the defense gets more tired. And when you have such a quick sequence of plays, you can't put in much in the way of substitution for the defense.
And here's the handoff to Taylor, who is brought back for a loss. The tackling crew being led by Adam Winter. So Kalen runs for a loss, or for no gain at least. And it's going to be 2nd and 5. Gain of 2. So here is Charlton. Fires to the far side.
Oh.
And that ball is dropped.
Right in the hands.
Probably should have been caught there by Jarvis Rembert, number 15.
Well, Jarvis has caught a lot of good balls, though.
Yeah, that's one he'll wish he had back, I think.
Yeah,
That thing
so.
was right in his hands.
It'll bring up 3rd down and goal for CBC.
Although he gets a high five from Coach Pingle. You'll get it next time. Good route. And here is Charlton in the shotgun again. Decides to keep it. Rolls to the near side. Hands it to Allen, or tosses it to Allen, rather, who is out of bounds at the 2-yard line. It looks like they're going to spot it. So this is going to be
field goal.
Yeah, they're going to bring the field goal unit on. So the ball's on the 2, and it's 4th and 2. So again, Benji Gormley to snap, Tyler England to hold, and Caleb Mines there to try to put this one through the uprights.
20-yard field goal attempt.
The DeSmet fans chanting they want to see a block here. CBC fans just standing and watching at this point. And a little different technique. You see Mines are chipping that one, no follow through. Another soccer move, but it's good. So it's going to be 27-0 CBC here in the 2nd quarter. So 8:47 to go, and CBC will feel that they have this game firmly in hand so far. Of course, anything can happen. And we were talking also a little bit, Pete, before the game, in a rivalry game like this. Of course, CBC and DeSmet just a few miles down the road. Certainly a great rivalry athletically in every sport. Doesn't matter. These guys see each other so much. You go to a soccer game after beating them in football and you chant just like football. You know, you go to a hockey game after beating them in basketball. It's the same thing. So this rivalry carries over into so many sports. And when you have a rivalry like that, what can it do for you mentally if you are a team like DeSmet, you go behind to a rival? Is this different than other games? Does record matter as much?
I would think that it doesn't. You know, the record doesn't make any difference. But in this situation, I'm afraid just CBC is just by far the superior team right now. Speed, not necessarily in size, but experience. I mean, they have seniors on the team. Yeah, you can always think, well, it's a big rivalry and it kind of evens things out. But football, I'm not sure about that. It just seems like when you're this outgunned and outmanned, I think the spirit might be there, but I think the flesh might be a little weak.
And there's Meinzer's kick. This one not in the end zone either, so we have a return. And the return will get out to about the 19, 20-yard line before being brought down. So it ends up being about the same as a touchback anyway, so familiar starting position for DeSmet. Can they get something on the board here? CBC looking to keep a run of 2 consecutive shutouts, 3 on the season. And DeSmet would do anything to try to turn that trend around right here.
Well, you know, you can only play with the players that you have. And in a private school, like both of these schools are, tradition, word of mouth, kind of generally attracts the better players.
Which leads to kind of a cyclical nature. You know, you have a few good years, you start getting more and more, you know, kids interested, and then you have a few more great years. It takes time, and it kind of works in cycles at this level. And of course, these teams turn over so quickly and so much year to year, as we see there, no gain for DeSmet. It's going to be 2nd and 10 from the 20.
I was watching some interesting commentary on one of these stations that kind of talks about college football, and and kind of worrying about the Big Ten and why they aren't the powerhouses that they used to be. And the guy was saying, well, you know, when you look at it, I'll finish this up after this play.
Number 20, Julian Fowler on the last carry. No gain. Second down and 10.
And Effer's going to take the snap in the shotgun. He's got options on his left-hand side. He's going to roll to his left. Got to throw it away, and he does. That's the right decision from Effer. He had nothing being chased down there. And we have a late flag. He was chased down by Kevin Williams and Alec Wardenberg. And they're going to get him for intentional grounding. Looks like it didn't make it past the, I don't know if it didn't make it past the line of scrimmage, maybe?
I think that's what it was. He threw it, and it didn't make it past the original line of scrimmage.
There wasn't much on the throw. Obviously, you have to get it you know, deep enough to pass the line of scrimmage. So that is going to be another penalty.
And he's left-handed. He should have been able to do that. I think he just didn't know where he was in the field, I think, on that one.
Well, and I wouldn't know where I was if I was being chased by Kevin Williams and Alec Wardenberg either, to be fair.
No. But they were saying that the Big Ten isn't the conference that it used to be because the upper Midwest, where many of these teams are losing population. The skilled players don't want to play in the cold. And maybe it sounds kind of strange, but you know, the uniforms make a big difference. Oregon attracts these young kids. It's a great recruiting tool on getting these chrome helmets and some of the fancy colors. And it's amazing to me. I have as a son who plays football in college. You know, they're very tuned into what they wear on Saturdays. If you look at a Penn State kind of a thing or a Nebraska, Dad, they're boring. The boring uniform. Boring, Dad.
Well, I bet Dad loves the uniforms, the traditional uniforms.
I kind of like Baylor, and I kind of like Mizzou, and I like a little something different out there. I'm not so old that I don't like a little change in some of these uniforms.
As you see, DeSmet taking a timeout there, just trying to regroup a little bit.
I mean, look at our Super Bowl champ. Look at their uniforms.
True.
They glow in the dark.
They do.
But an interesting commentary about why maybe the Big Ten isn't hanging in there.
That is an interesting point. And you talk about you know, high school boys. Of course, CBC going to be debuting some new alternate uniforms next weekend against SLU, so that's something to look forward to. Some new alternate jerseys that they're keeping under wraps. I believe they're gold uniforms, which we haven't seen before. So there's some excitement around that, and that's the kind of thing that that gets the boys excited. As we see a little flip from Effer back to the tailback, and he is going to get nowhere. Great stop from CBC, and they're going to pin DeSmet.
Well, if there's any good news about a bum ankle that Quint he has over there, it's the fact that he has time to recover for the playoffs.
True. True. An injury like that right now is very different than an injury like that in the middle of October.
I mean, last year we lost quarterback Tyler Kreth, and that just hurt
it did
a whole bunch.
But, I mean, if you look, you know, certainly not for Tyler, but right now, you look at Blake Charlton, you know, he wouldn't have had the experience that he had coming into this year without that experience. And not a good punt there. The punter very frustrated with himself. And, again, that looked like Hunter Schoenig not getting all of that one for sure. That's frustrating for a punter, I'm sure.
Only out to the 15-yard line.
So this is going to be a short field, very short field for CBC. They're going to start this possession in the red zone, which is not what you want if you are DeSmet right now. 7
minutes to go in the half. They'll get at least probably a field goal out of this, I would think.
I think they could kick it now if they wanted to, but obviously you want to take a few cracks at it. And CBC, of course, a touchdown and a 2-point away from the running clock. Kalen Taylor gets the handoff, goes up the middle, gains a few.
Love watching these backs run. They're so much fun.
They really are. Can you talk a little bit about some of the styles we see from some of our different running backs? You know, you got Kalen Taylor, Trey Bryant, Caleb Allen.
Well, they all kind of basically have a little bit of a similar style. They twist and turn a lot, which a lot more is done these days with the twisting and the turning more than the old days where you had just a big fullback go up the middle. But trying to tackle somebody with these skin-tight outfits, it's very difficult. And then when you tackle somebody and they're spinning out of your grasp, they seem to get at least 2 or 3 more yards from that, and chances are they might spin completely out of it. So I see our running backs coaches at CBC obviously are teaching these running backs how to do that, and it's very effective.
First and goal for CBC.
And CBC has first and goal. Kalen Taylor runs the end around. He's going to cut inside, and that's a touchdown for Kalen Taylor. And CBC continues to advance their lead here.
And remember, when you're built like Kalen, you got fairly short legs. That means you can cut on a dime.
Yep.
So you can run sideways as fast as you're running forward. And that's really hard. That puts an enormous amount of pressure on a tackler.
Oh, Barry Sanders build.
Oh, one of the greatest running backs I ever saw.
My favorite players to watch as a kid. That was, I think that was my first football jersey I ever owned, actually, as a kid. Was a Barry Sanders jersey.
Wow.
If only I had the talent. And here is Meinzer, and he's going to pound it through. So 34-0 for CBC. And the CBC crowd is loving this one. You might not be able to see them on camera. That's actually because they're in a camo theme tonight. They're all wearing camo tonight. So if you can't see them on camera, that's why. They're blending in nicely. Except the ones that aren't wearing camo are wearing bright orange, which kind of defeats the purpose, but we'll ignore that fact. So 34-0 for CBC. Certainly a good start. Cadets, how does listening to some live music on a Saturday night while supporting the Make-A-Wish Foundation sound? We hope you'll join us at Wolf Public House in Baldwin on Saturday, October 18th. That's Saturday, October 18th, as CBC's Music for Charity Club presents a great show to raise money for this important cause. Invite your friends and help our students support Make-A-Wish. We'll see you at the Wolf Public House on October 18th. For more information, visit musicforcharitystl.org. And we mentioned in the first half, we do want to mention again, folks, you can follow us on Twitter. You can even tweet us here in the booth mid-game at CBCCSN, at CBCCSN. Send us a shout-out. And with 6:16 to go, CBC is going to kick off with a 34-0 lead. Meinzer, that one's a little higher, and it's going to stop short of the goal line. There will be a return here. Last time the return made it out to the 20. This time it'll make it out to about the 17.
I hate to say it, Tom, but it looks like some of these players are a little bit afraid. They're running tentatively. I mean, that wasn't exactly an all-out run on a kickoff return. I can understand that, being an old punt return man myself. Only me and my laundryman knew how scared I was sometimes.
First and 10 from the 17-yard line.
CSN bringing you all the information you wanted to know about the gritty aspects of the game. So DeSmet starting possession inside their own red zone, not the one you want to start in. This is Griffin Palmer. He's going to gain about 6.
It's a nice run after catch.
That was a nice run. Turned up the end line, or the sideline rather.
Griffin Palmer, he's 6'6", 215 pounds. He's quite a handful to bring down.
Gain of 5. Second down and 5.
So it's going to be 2nd and 5 for DeSmet here. And DeSmet, or Andrew Effer under center for DeSmet. Where he's been most of the night. He's going to hand it off. And a good run from Pandolfo. Seen some good physical north-south running from him. And he's going to pick up the first down with a yard to spare.
That was a combination of good running and poor tackling on CBC. A little bit of arm tackling there.
So under 6 to go now. And 1st and 10 for DeSmet. Finally getting a first down. Again, looking to cut into this lead. Certainly don't want to take, you don't want to let CBC take such a big lead and a shutout in the halftime. You want to get something before halftime just to try to get some sort of momentum, some sort of belief back in your locker room. And here's Effer. Pass out in the screen to Pandolfo. And Pandolfo is brought down by Eric Carrera. Nice tackle by Carrera.
You know, Eric's got a torn meniscus. And
you wouldn't know it.
No, you wouldn't know it. He's got a brace on it, and he's probably not at 100%. He did it about 2 weeks ago, I guess. And yet he didn't want to go in for the operation. That would knock him down for 2 to 3 weeks. Said, nope. He told his dad, I'm going to play on this knee, and I think I can do the job. And he really has. You don't hear him lately in the games because our safeties and our DBs have not been making many tackles. Our front 4, 5, or 6, plus our linebackers have been making most of the tackles.
And case in point there, with a nice tackle from Kevin Williams, bringing down the ball carrier. And I would certainly take Eric Herrera at about 80% over a lot of players. Eric Herrera, really, really a promising player.
Plays at 100%, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Play. I've watched him ever since he came as a freshman. Fun player to watch. I don't believe he's indicated where he's going to go play on Saturdays anywhere as yet, though.
Oh, he's got some options, though.
Does he? Yeah.
And here is Andrew Effer. Throws it over to the sideline. You could tell he was looking for number 84, Jack Iluski. But the ball eluded him.
Pretty good on those names.
Yeah, quick read of the roster.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You announced soccer too. You can
done some soccer, done some lacrosse, done a little bit of basketball.
All right.
You'll learn a roster in a hurry. And these numbers are nice and big. Sometimes the soccer numbers are real small, and you got to use shoe color and things like that. There's actually one school that should be coming in October, Cherry Creek High School from Colorado, a school with over 200 state championships. Every single player on their team bleaches their hair.
Oh, geez.
It's part of an initiation, so you can imagine what that does to a commentator. And here's the throw from Effer. It's a good throw over the top, just a little too much for Griffin Palmer. A little bit of contact there, not too much. That was broken up by number 7, Rashawn Davis.
That was kind of a shotgun delivery, kind of a chuck and duck.
Again, when you've been taking some hits like Andrew Effer has.
I think I'd be doing the same thing.
I would too.
Well, they're going to punt again.
And Mike Million back to return. Of course, the last punt didn't go too far.
No, he's only giving him about a 25-yard. And I can see why.
And he's going to kick it high, let the coverage team get down there. And fair catch called for by Mike Million. And that's going to be CBC's ball at their own 35.5. So with 4:25 to go in the first half, CBC up 34-0, looking to put another one in, or at least a field goal, and get to the running clock. We do want to remind you folks while you're watching CSN that we are about more than just athletics. We will once again be delivering theater performances, academic events, and other school activities right here at cbccsn.com. Be sure to log on all school year to check us out. You can also follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Facebook, it's CBCCSN. Cadet Student Network. And on Twitter, it's at CBCCSN. From the classroom to the court, from the field to the stage, if it's happening at CBC, you'll find it here on CSN. Connect with us anytime at www.cbccadets.org/CSN. And the handoff there to Taylor. He's brought down with maybe a 1-yard gain, maybe nothing.
Kind of a fun play. He takes the ball on the handoff, and then he fakes immediately to the right, spins, and then goes over to the left. Right into the arms of a defender, unfortunately. It was fun to watch, though.
And here's the throw to Mike Million, who was brought down by a pair of Spartans.
That's also an option, too. The quarterback looks over there, and he sees if that defensive player is playing tight on the outside flanker or not. If he's giving him about 6.5, 7 yards, that would be good for another 5 yards. Now he's coming up close. If you're playing him up close.
And good quick strike over the middle from Jack Even to Jack Orban. And Orban, forward progress has been impeded, and DeSmet's still going for the ball, trying to strip it. But a good quick throw from Jack Even, finding Jack Orban.
Those tight ends come through again. That was a nice play.
Well, I mean, when you look at every level, especially the NFL, last 5 years have really been kind of the era of the tight end. I mean, you look at the effect that some of these guys have had increasingly year in, year out. Kind of starting with Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, those kinds of guys, and now with Jimmy Graham and all these great tight ends in the league. Julius Thomas.
Same play again. But it bounced off his right shoulder pad, and he couldn't get it. The ball was a little bit behind Jack.
Yeah, you're supposed to throw at the numbers, but not the shoulder numbers.
Yeah. It's amazing to me in the NFL that the the tight ends are all kind of upset a little bit because there's a special pay scale for tight ends, and they're not in with the higher paid wide receivers.
And Jack even throws. He's got a man wide open. Oh, man, that was Cameron Curtis in all kinds of space. And that is one that you need to catch. I mean, maybe he heard footsteps behind him, but he'll be pretty disappointed in himself not to catch that.
Well, you know,
a good route.
As a receiver, and you look back, and I tell you, it's tough for catching a ball in the dark sometimes.
And here is even. That time he finds Jarvis Rembert, who holds on to it, and that's going to be a CBC first down.
I'm not sure. Is it?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's
The far side official's giving him the first down, and there's the signal.
Down. That's right. There he is.
That was pretty, maybe a little bit of a generous spot there, but
I've seen some studies that passers and completions at a higher rate in the daytime than there is at night, which makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And here's Kalen Taylor trying to get around the outside, and he's going to be brought down from behind by Pandolfo.
Another first down.
And that's another first down. Kalen Taylor that time. So you're starting to see a tired DeSmet defense, and CBC rounding the corner on him with some sort of regularity. Certainly alarm bells should be ringing for these DeSmet defenders right now. And CBC's going to keep taking it to him with another quick snap. And here's Jack Even, hands it off to Kalen Taylor, going around the other side. He's going to pick up a couple. And there you see that switch of direction you were talking about, Pete, able to cut back inside.
Yep.
Obviously not able to create a ton of space, but you're able to get another couple yards when you cut back inside, just put the defender a little bit off balance. And now CBC running another play. DeSmet trying to make some substitutions, struggling. And they're going to get too many men on the field, it looks like, unless they called a timeout first, which they did.
I'll always remember that that game in the Dome against DeSmet in 2011. DeSmet was ahead of CBC at the half, I believe, something like 16-7 or 16-10. And I thought we were pretty much in trouble. And we ended up, Pingle's wonderful strategy of tiring those big defenders of DeSmet in the first half. And by the time it was halfway through the third quarter, we were up by about 14 and ended up beating them by 30.
Paired with one of my all-time favorite CBC plays, Darius Carey, throwing about a 35-yard touchdown pass to your son, Dalton Demos, the quarterback.
That was set up so beautifully. Darius, you know, Darius came, he was a freshman along with Dalton, and I thought Darius was going to be the quarterback because he could throw the ball off his back foot about 80 yards. The guy was unbelievably strong.
And didn't see it all year. Then all of a sudden in the Dome against DeSmet.
That's right.
There's Darius back taking the snap.
Fun play.
That really turned things around in that game. And you
Sure
talk about momentum swings.
You remember that play, huh, Tom?
I remember it well.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first year teaching at CBC.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot of fun that game was. Ooh. Caleb Allen took a shot there from Pandolfo.
Somebody didn't block somebody on that one.
I think Caleb Allen was supposed to block him, and that's one way to block. Take a huge hit so your quarterback doesn't, I guess. But it's going to be 3rd and 6 for CBC. So 2.5 to go in the first half. Jack Even in there for the Cadets. He's going to throw it far side. He's got Kalen Taylor unable to get on it as Kalen Taylor. And you got a Spartan player down. That is number 19, Drew McCoy. It looked like he came down with his gut right on top of the foot of Kalen Taylor, so I wonder if he got the wind knocked out of him. Didn't look comfortable, but you hope it's not serious.
Yeah, maybe the wind knocked out or...
He's really struggling over there.
Do soccer players ever get the wind knocked out of them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's not fun.
No, it isn't. I was a goalie my whole life, so I've had it knocked out of me a good number of times, usually accompanied by the stitches from the ball that are there for a couple days. And he is going to be off under his own power. Actually, it looks like he's holding that left arm, so that might not be the wind knocked out of him.
It's like a left wrist maybe, huh?
Yeah, wrist or shoulder, they're holding it.
Yeah.
Kind of like a sling. So we certainly hope Drew McCoy is all right. Don't want to see the injury numbers growing tonight. Of course, Quentin Wynn getting hit pretty hard earlier in the game, and he has not made a return to this game since. I'd be surprised if he's even still got his pads on after halftime. And Meinzer kicks the field goal. So CBC takes a 37-0 advantage. That is an important number because, of course, 35 points is the running clock rule. So we will see, at the very least, at the start of the second half. But I would like to also, I want to also say in the end of the first half, depending on the nuance of the rule, the clock will be running. It will not stop except for change of possession. Well, we do have a second. CBC fans, if you want, you can advertise your business on the Cadet Student Network. Sponsors like alum Tim Kylo at State Farm, Athletic Republic, and Guido's Pizza and Tapas make this broadcast possible. Winter sports packages are now available and include signage, recorded commercials, and in-game announcements like this, and more. Contact Assistant Athletic Director Tony Kosiolik at 314-985-6046. Don't miss your opportunity to reach thousands of loyal fans.
You know, I'd like to mention the dedication and the experience and the right kinds of coaching the CBC has. I'm constantly amazed as what I know about football, and I go to practices on occasion, and it's kind of fun seeing the kids being coached by people who know what they're doing, just not a biology teacher coming in from somewhere. And I love the safety that they're preaching also, keeping your head up and not chop blocking people and what have you. This is a rough, tough game, and I think CBC does an awfully good job of coaching the right way on these players.
And you talk about the resurgence of the CBC program. Really, you look at Scott Pingle's arrival, in the 2000s while I was here as a student. Of course, one of his first year, if not his first year as an assistant or as offensive coordinator rather, CBC went to state the last year of Coach Bob Shannon.
I was at that game. I remember.
2006. That was. I've tried to block that game out of my memory. That was Blue Springs South.
Yeah, and their quarterback, his name was Blaine Dalton.
Yep, and he also played cornerback, got the game-winning interception, and also did the kicking in that game.
Oh.
Actually, no, I'm getting my. That was in 2011. Their quarterback did everything. What was it? It wasn't Connor Harris. He was at DeSmet. It was a similar name. I'm trying to remember his name.
No, his name was Connor Harris, and he's now the middle linebacker for
it was him. Okay.
And he's the one that gained an enormous amount of muscle from. He was at 181, and by the time he played football 9 months later, it was 225.
But of course, those two state game losses in 06 and in 2011 to Blue Springs South. Funny little coincidence, in 2012, CBC was at the state soccer final, the soccer championship at Blue Springs South. I was calling the game in the press box with then President Mike England, and sure enough, where do they situate the CBC folks but sitting between two framed pictures in their press box, one of the game in 06 and the other of the game in 2011.
There's a penalty on this play.
And that is Kevin Williams on the ground. And the flag came in late. That's not what you want to see. And the officials are going to talk it over, and we're awaiting the signal here.
It's been the fewest penalties I've seen at a CBC game in years.
Still haven't seen one on CBC. Dead ball foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct against DeSmet. Not what you need when your team is trailing.
Nope.
You need any way you can possibly get back into this game, and that's not helping. Is that another one? Hey, he signaled it twice. Either there were two or he forgot he signaled it. I don't know. But the fact is, it's now 3rd and 20 for DeSmet. 2 minutes to go. And here's Effer under center. They're running the play clock down as long as they can, and they're going to hand it off for no gain. Pandolfo was blocking that time. He was not the ball character. Now the ball carrier there was number...
I was going to say, The crowd is crying
can't quite
timeout
see.
for CBC to call a timeout. There's a minute 26 seconds. The clock is running, and they have time to get the ball back with plenty of time to score again.
So, yeah, a minute and 17 now.
But again, the gentleman that Scott Pingle is as a coach, he's not one that's going to intentionally run up the score. Because next year he might be in the same situation on the other side.
And that punt a little bit end over end, that's going to go out of bounds. So CBC will get the ball inside of a minute to go on the DeSmet 37. Looking to maybe get a few more before the end of the half. And, of course, CBC did receive the opening kickoff, so they would lose the ball. So very important to convert something here so you don't leave any points out on the field, just in case. And as the offense runs out, we're going to see what CBC can do in the 1 minute drill. They do have all 3 timeouts if they wish to use them. And certainly you don't want to run up the score intentionally, but also it's not need time yet. So you go for it, see what you can get in the first half, and you never know what can happen. So Blake Charlton looks to dump it off to Kalen Taylor, who didn't seem to turn around for it, and maybe a little miscommunication, broken play there, and Charlton takes the sack.
Yeah, that was a toss left and run left, and it.
Maybe Kalen missed the memo. He didn't turn around for the pitch. So no timeout. 35 to go, and Charlton over the top.
Touchdown.
And that time there is a catch, and that is a CBC touchdown, Lamar Anderson. There is a flag down. There might have been a little bit of contact, though. We're awaiting the signal, so touchdown for Lamar Anderson. That's his second of the night. That's going to be pass interference against Lamar Anderson. I wasn't watching that closely. I'll be honest, I didn't see it.
I couldn't see it either. It was pretty far away from us here. He must have pushed off slightly.
It didn't look like it looked like it was kind of going both ways, but that could be a little bit of bias talking, so I'm not sure. We'll give the benefit of the doubt to the officials. But a touchdown ruled back for pass interference on Lamar Anderson. So CBC pushed quite a ways back now. 3rd and 29. Not the longest third down you've seen on this field, Pete. You're telling me a story about a 3rd and 73.
Yeah, Deron Neal, 2010. It was 3rd and 73.
And Charlton dumps it to Lamar Anderson, who is brought down with under 25 to go, and that is going to run out the clock. Doesn't look like CBC is going to take a timeout here.
They might run one more play.
You might as well throw it a long way and see what happens. So inside of 10 minutes, they're going to get the snap off with about 6 to go. Charlton under pressure, throws it over the top. There is a flag down on the near side. Not sure what it was.
I think that's illegal contact down the field, I think, against DeSmet.
And they stop the clock with 0.8 seconds to go. So if this is a penalty against DeSmet, CBC will get one more throw.
Ineligible man downfield.
Against CBC.
Yeah.
So I believe that is a that's the second penalty against CBC. So it's going to be 4th down and 24 now for CBC. That one's declined.
Well, no sense punting. Just throw it down again.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
What do you lose? You got one more play with 1/8 of a second left. Or 8/10 rather. And Charlton throws it in the ground in front of him. And that's going to do it for us in the first half here. So if you're watching and you're a CBC fan, a lot of positives to take away from this first half. We are going to go to a break, let you hear from some of our sponsors here on the Cadet Student Network.
You're a CBC fan and that Rocky sent you. That's Cafe Afton, home of the CBC Burger, located on Gravois Road. This is CBC Athletic Director Rocky Strub, and if you know me, you know I love to eat. One of my favorite spots is the Cafe Afton, the home of the CBC Burger. The owner, Craig Smellick, is a huge CBC fan, and he always treats me right. Located on Gravois Road, the Cafe Afton is a great place to stop after a CBC hockey game, or for any occasion for that matter. Just ask my wife. I'm always looking for an excuse to pay Craig a visit at the Cafe Afton. I know you'll love it too. Please be sure to tell them that you're a CBC fan and that Rocky sent you. That's the Cafe Afton, home of the CBC Burger, located on Gravois Road. This is CBC Athletic Director
and CBC alum Tim Kylo for all your insurance needs. Tim and the State Farm team provide a full insurance review to make sure you and your family are covered at the best possible price. Whether it's auto, renters, home, business, or life insurance, for more than 23 years, Tim has helped his clients manage the risks of everyday life and realize their dreams. For all your insurance needs, contact one of our school's most loyal alums, Class of 77 graduate Tim Kylo at 314-842-4442 or send him an email, tim@timkylo.com. Call.
And welcome back to the booth. Tom Eichwald bringing you CBC football here on the Cadet Student Network. We want to let you know, folks, that on September 11th, CBC celebrated its 165th birthday. The school dates back to 1850 when 3 Christian brothers were sent to St. Louis to help educate children from all backgrounds. As we celebrate our history, CBC is preparing to educate the next generation of cadets, and we are in the midst of a fundraising campaign that will help us do just that. The Stand Up for CBC campaign will help our school continue to grow and thrive for another 165 years. Take a look at our campaign video and consider making a donation today.
I am one, but I'm not the only one. I can do some things, but I can't do everything. What I can do, ought to do, by the grace of God, I will do. For my God, for my school.
All for all, God for us all. Christian Brothers on the move.
St. John Baptist de La Salle believed that everyone has been blessed by God with individual gifts and talents. These gifts and talents need to be recognized and celebrated. And that is what we're all about here at CBC. Our pledge to my brother promotes this idea that there is value in each of us individually. But it also recognizes that each of us has weaknesses as well. It is only when we come together as a community that we achieve our full potential. And that is the commitment or pledge that our young men make to one another. I am here for you when you need me. I will lift you up.
Being a CBC brother, to me it means being a part of something that's bigger than yourself and being a part of something that you know is always going to be there as long as you live.
I remember, growing up, and that really was kind of like my biggest dream was just to go to high school and graduate. I have cystic fibrosis, and so I had really bad lungs at the time. CBC, I remember them saying, with my health, that if I ever were to get sick or whatnot, that they would help me get my homework in when I was in the hospital and I wouldn't be falling behind. They didn't just baby me along the course, they let me actually try to achieve it for myself.
I was wounded in 2004. A civilian vehicle crossed the center line and hit us head on. The first day I woke up, ironically enough, the first person I saw who wasn't in the military was my CBC classmate, Matt Peckham. It tells a lot about the brotherhood of CBC that the first person I saw outside of the military was someone who drove across Germany just to come see me. Knowing the friendship that we had, it did not surprise me at all that he would have stopped whatever he was doing and come to see me.
CBC is really all about relationships.
They come back to CBC because they know and sense and feel a tremendous brotherhood. And that benefits them for their future, but it also gives them a grounding that they can always come back to and feel comfortable being a part of. It's a tremendous thing.
When I think about myself being a brother to CBC, I just remember how coming here, everybody was helping me out. I remember how being a brother that always taught, look out for one another.
The alumni are the stewards of this school. of the history of the school, of the legacy of the school. It only succeeds if we all make it that way and take care of it and make it successful.
It's more that feel of family and brotherhood that just it gives them incredible confidence to do good things.
The best reason anyone can support the school is to make sure that kids today have the same opportunity that we had.
I am the person I am today because of my experiences at CBC, because of who I met here at CBC, my friends, the teachers, the coaches.
You see them grow from, little guys to these men that are doing incredibly valuable things that makes us very proud here at CBC, that we've played a small part in that development. It's awesome.
CBC has a rich history in St. Louis, and you are each an integral part of that history. We need your help to continue the LaSallian traditions, the heritage of St. John Baptist de La Salle, and for future cadets that attend CBC. We would ask you to live the pledge, make your pledge, the campaign Stand Up for CBC.
God for us all. God for us all. Christian Brothers on the move. Christian Brothers on the move. St. John Baptist de La Salle. Pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts.
And welcome back to the Tim Kylo broadcast booth on the road this week at DeSmet. As you can see from the video, great things are happening at CBC every day. Please visit standupforcbc.org. That's standupforcbc.org to make your donation to this exceptional institution. Now is the time to stand up for CBC. We do want to let you know that there's a lot going on at CBC these days. Of course, we mentioned the alumni events coming up. If you'd like more information, Alumni Weekend, we have the Alumni Banquet and Hall of Fame induction on Thursday evening, October 2nd. On Friday, October 3rd, we have a home game against the Junior Billikens of St. Louis University High School. And then the weekend is going to conclude Sunday with Mass at 9 a.m. and the Alumni Golf Scramble at noon at Forest Park. For more information, you can go to our website, cbchs.org, or you can call Alumni Relations Director Joe Gunn at 985-6098. On the other side of that, on the other side of the alumni, of course, is the future alumni. If you know a young man in 7th, 8th grade, 6th grade, 5th grade, doesn't matter. If you know somebody who might be a future cadet, please encourage him to give us a call. We'd love to have you for a tour. Open house, of course, coming up on November 2nd, as well as our shadow experience. You can find more information on CBC's website, or you can give a call to Melissa Ryan at CBC, and she will get you set up for a shadow visit. I can't seem to find her number, but you can find it on the website in our directory, and also some admissions information on the website. So come visit us and see what CBC is all about. You can experience CBC for yourself. So as we look back on a first half that I think CBC will be very pleased with, going into the half with a 37-point lead, that means that as soon as we start the second half, there will be a running clock. So that is certainly good news and something that CBC is very familiar with throughout the season. But it's still a beautiful night, cooling off a little bit. Both student sections in good voice tonight. So everything you want in rivalry football at the high school level. So we'll have more to get you ready for the second half. We're going to take another break, let you hear from a couple more of our sponsors. And when we come back, we'll wrap up the first half and get you all set for second half action here at DeSmet. You're watching the Cadet Student Network.
And if you know me, you know I love to eat. One of my favorite spots is the Cafe Afton, the home of the CBC burger. The owner, Craig Smellick, is a huge CBC fan, and he always treats me right. Located on Gravois Road, the Cafe Afton is a great place to stop after a CBC hockey game, or for any occasion for that matter. Just ask my wife. I'm always looking for an excuse to pay Craig a visit at the Cafe Afton. I know you'll love it too. Please be sure to tell them that you're a CBC fan and that Rocky sent you. That's the Cafe Afton, home of the CBC burger, located on Gravois Road. This is CBC Athletic Director Rocky Shrub, and if you know me, you know...
And welcome back to the booth here. I mentioned before the break that you can come experience CBC for yourself. We didn't even get through a commercial before, we got a text from admissions director Jim Brockman with the phone numbers I didn't have in front of me earlier. Thank you, Jim. You can reach Melissa Ryan to schedule a shadow visit if you're in 8th grade. That number is 314-985-6095. Or you can call Jim Brockman, our admissions director, directly at 314-985-6067. So that's Jim Brockman at 985-6067 and Melissa Ryan at 985-6095. You can schedule your shadow visit and, again, experience what CBC is all about. So a lot going on here. We mentioned the alumni events coming up. Also, next week, we have the Gateway Soccer Classic, of course, a soccer tournament bringing teams in from all over the country that CBC hosts every year. So a lot of fun to watch your cadets play against competition from all over the country, some different teams, different types of teams than they're used to seeing. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great event. If you haven't come to a game for that tournament before, we'd love to have you out, so come on out to CBC. But if you can't make it, obviously, you can watch this on the Cadet Student Network. As we mentioned, there are a number of students we'd like to give credit to helping us on the broadcast tonight. We want to thank especially our station manager, Josh Williams, and our executive producer, Bryson Schroeder, as well as the students making tonight's broadcast possible: Charlie Hines, his older brother Henry, William Kratz, Max Adamski, Tristan Bear, and I believe that's our crew. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody, but if I do, boys, please let me know. So thank you for all that you do. We certainly couldn't do it. If you could see up in the booth, we got all kinds of dials, all kinds of things plugging into various things. So I have no idea what any of it does, but they do, and that's what's important. So we do have a treat for us in the booth talking about CSN. We have Mr. Pat Walsh. Mr. Pat Walsh is the Director of Communications at CBC, stepping into the booth for a few minutes. So, Mr. Walsh, great to have you with us.
Tom, it's awesome to be here. Thanks for letting me sneak up and talk to you for a few minutes here.
Can you tell us a little bit, Pat, about just CSN and how it got started and where it's come from, where it's going?
You bet. I'm excited to. It's the most fun part of my job, to be honest with you. A year ago August, so I guess CSN has just passed its first anniversary. Myself and the folks in the athletic department, Rocky Streb and Tony Kosiolik, along with a group of students, decided to figure out whether or not we could put together this online network. In previous years, we've worked with companies like Prepcast, and there's a few different folks out there now who produce high school broadcasts. Instead of going that route, we decided to invest in our kids a little bit and see what they could do. And I tell you what, they never cease to amaze us. Just as you were just saying, as I stepped into the booth, all sorts of technical stuff going on. We don't have the best equipment. We're investing in that.
If you'd like to help us with that, we would certainly love to have your support there. We'll get that plug in. I'll say it so you don't have to.
That's a great lead-in to the fact that we're always looking for advertisers and sponsors and people who want to continue to invest in our students. But long story short on that, through last year we learned a lot of lessons, and we accomplished a whole lot. Over 25,000 viewers in our first year as a student network. And moving into year 2 here, we've improved the program. We're broadcasting in HD where available, as long as our signal strength is strong enough. Thanks for everybody for sticking with us on those nights where it's a little spotty. But it's just really exciting seeing everything that the kids can accomplish and all that they're learning. And like I said, it's the best part of my job.
And coming up at the meeting today that I got to sit in on, you guys were nice enough to have me. We talked about some of the upcoming events and looking at branching out, trying a few new sports. We've never broadcast cross country before. We're talking about trying that as well as swimming if we can make it work. So
right,
a lot exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about where you see Cadet Student Network heading?
Where's it going? The first thing I'll tell you is that I'll give you my best guess, but really I have no idea. I had no idea a year ago that we would be delivering live coverage of our theater productions, which we're going to do again next weekend with Tom Murray. And the series players are bringing us Godspell. That's right. We've produced some of our school masses. We delivered graduation coverage to folks who weren't able to attend last year's ceremony in May. Also, sold DVDs to parents. Where we go from here, who knows? But as you were saying, we're going to do a cross country event. I have no idea how you broadcast a cross country race. We're going to see. We're going to see the runners take off from the starting line. We're going to check in with them across the course, and we'll deliver coverage at the finish line.
I suppose the rest will have to be running commentary.
That's right. And you're so much better at that than I. Thank goodness. We'll be listening to you or somebody just like you. Paint a picture for our audience. And where we go from there, we're going to do a swimming event. We did golf last spring.
We did.
I know you were a part of that. Good gracious.
Unfortunately, I was with our JV team off-site, so I wasn't able to be a part of the broadcast. But, of course, a lot of fun. The boys enjoyed that. Had a couple special guests with Coach Mike McCormick.
That's right.
Up at Normandy, his stomping grounds. So,
Coach McCormick is awesome for us. But where we go from here, just bringing coverage of all things CBC to our alumni audience. And let me say a quick thank you to our alums. The alumni board is invested in us a little bit, is showing their support, and guys like Mike Bartoni are always pitching in to help out. It's awesome to see everything that our students and really our whole school community is able to deliver here.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Mr. Walsh, for joining us and for all that you do for CSN. We've enjoyed having you in the booth. And as we get set for the second half, the clock is winding down. We are getting all set for kickoff here. Of course, we will have a running clock in the second half. CBC up to a 37-0 lead. So the clock is winding down. We're getting down to 0, and that means teams are heading over to their bench. Again, DeSmet will start with the ball, so they will have an opportunity to make something happen right off the bat here. We will see if they're able to do that. In the first half, we saw CBC's offense and the speed and the talent that they have dominate. And on the defensive side, only a couple first downs for DeSmet. They were hard to come by. So you look for maybe DeSmet to maybe try a few new things. Back in the booth to tell us a little bit more about what we can expect in the second half is my partner tonight, Mr. Pete Demos. Pete, welcome back. First of all, your sideline report. I know you went down to try to get a little more information during halftime. Did you learn anything about any of the players?
No, they all went inside there. I had a hard time getting it. The fact is that it doesn't seem to be that big a concern about losing win right now, although I beg to differ somewhat. They do have a rotation system for the linebackers if they come in and go out. Like I said before, though, let's hope it's not so bad that I can still see him over on the – he didn't go in at halftime. He's sitting over there on the edge of the bench with his pads off with ice on his right ankle. And it's on the top of his ankle. So that tells me that hopefully it's recoverable maybe in a week or two in time for the playoffs. That's what we have to hope for.
And Pete, your thoughts overall in the first half? I was mentioning when you step back into the booth that in the first half CBC's offense very much dominant, and on the defensive side, DeSmet really unable to get too much going. Can you tell us what we can expect in the second half? Let's start with CBC. What can we expect? More of the same? What's been working for CBC tonight? What will they look to continue to do in the second half?
Well, as good coaches do, they're going to put in their 2s and 3s. So it's not going to be quite an explosive as offense if it was in the first half. CBC is leading 37-0 here. I don't believe they're going to score 37 points in the second half. That isn't going to happen. And they're going to give some valuable reps to, like I said, to the fellows on the other side over there that haven't played a whole lot, and so they're getting their second and third team members. And I think that's extremely valuable to do because you never know where you're going to need those kids.
Mahoney right now, you're walking back out after a pretty good drubbing in the first half. What are you telling your players walking out on the field?
Well, you keep your head up, and it's a game. It's only a game. We'll try to learn something, and we'll go back to work on Monday, and we'll see what we can do about getting better and better. And we're a young team, and we'll just get better for next year and the year after. And everybody has to wait their turn on occasion, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Is there anything concrete that DeSmet can do in the second half to try to get a little bit more of a foothold in this game?
I don't see anything that they can do. They don't have speed. They don't really have that much of a passing attack. The only bright spot I see is their tight end has been able to catch a few balls. But CBC is putting so much pressure on their quarterback that he can't really do a whole lot. And he's not a very tall kid either, so it's kind of hard for him to see over the top. And like I say, some years you have good teams, and other years you're rebuilding, and then once every 3-4 years, hopefully you have a good team. And I think the CBC has really put it to them tonight, and it could be reversed here in a year or two. You just never know. So much has to do. Can you attract the better players to your school? That's what you have to be able to do. And I'm not sure that DeSmet is doing as good a job as CBC is right now. And there's no reason for it because DeSmet has gone to the playoffs. They had a much better team last year, but again, when you lose all your seniors, that's tough to recover from.
And we mentioned once one returning starter from last year, and that is a linebacker. But next year they will have all but 3 returning starters. Obviously, you can only predict so much when you got teenage boys. You never know exactly what's going to happen. But in theory, all but 3 starters will return for next year. So certainly things looking much brighter up ahead for DeSmet than they might be looking right now.
But unless they can recruit some speed, I don't see a future for them next year. I really don't. You have to be able to get some speed burners in there. And right now, I don't see it from this existing team.
So Meinzer's kick, and that one is through the end zone for a touchback. So it will be DeSmet ball at the 20. Familiar starting point for CBC's defense. They've been starting at the 20 a lot with the kicking that Caleb Meinzer has given them. And as he makes his way off the field, the CBC defense comes back out to try to resume the dominance they showed in the first half.
When did you say that mercy clock starts?
Should be the second half after a change of possession.
Okay.
First down and 10 for DeSmet as they start the second half. All at their own 20.
So we're going to start the second half at the DeSmet 20. And DeSmet seeing if they can get anything, and that's not the way to start. That's a snap over the head of Andrew Effer. That's going to be down in the end zone for a safety for CBC. So 39-0 on the first play of the second half. And, of course, CBC does get the ball in the safety punt. So now the clock is running. Should be 39-0. And CBC running off the field pretty energized right there.
And the wrong end of a safety is it's a brutal play, because not only do you lose 2 points, but you give up possession, and you have to now punt or kick off from the 20-yard line, and then it gets the ball right back to CBC, who's going to probably play pretty hard at least this first part of the third.
Yeah, and with likely a very good field position. You talk about a punt from the 20 or 30, you're looking at getting the ball back at your own 40.
Right.
You know, and that's not including the returning abilities of a Michael Million, too, who can do anything on a return.
This has got to be a little bit of a scary play, I would think, right now for DeSmet.
Absolutely. And we've seen a lot of the punts tonight have been high and short. Again, just trying to cut their losses and just avoid the big play on the return. You kick it high, you let your coverage team down there. You make Mike Million go for a fair catch, or maybe see if you can get a bounce, something like that. So,
well, you know, a lot of these kids, you know, you can only coach so much while you have them for the 2.5 months or so that you have a team. And you know, there is a facility. I think they call it the St. Louis Rams Football Academy, the Elite Football Academy over there in Manchester. So many of the kids from CBC go over there and learn how to be a better blocker, better tackler, better this, better that. It's a unique kind of an advantage that the St. Louis kids do have. Now that's a nice kick.
And Kalen Taylor backtracks to receive it. Some good leg on that kick. And Taylor jukes one. He's into space. Only the kicker to beat, and he's got 2 blockers to help him do it. And Kalen Taylor is through. Touchdown, CBC.
And no penalty flags that I can see. That one block was a tandem block. The poor kicker got nailed. We do have one.
And a concern here. Miles Taylor is barely able to walk off under his own pressure, and he hits the turf. He must have taken a shot to the head. He is not sure where he is, I don't think, and he's receiving some attention over there.
Oh, jeez.
So a touchdown for Kalen Taylor on the return. But concern here as Miles Taylor hits the deck, and he was really wobbling on his feet. And I don't know if he knows where he is right now. That is not something you want to see. So at 45-0 right now, you're looking at an extra point to make it 46. But again, all the concern right now is for Miles Taylor. And he was slow getting up, and once he did get to his feet, he was not stable at all. He was wobbling.
He was staggering.
So that's an 80-yard return for Kalen Taylor. And every player hits a knee.
Well, they've got him up in a sitting position now. But he looks pretty glassy-eyed. Kristen Jeans is looking at him pretty hard, the CBC trainer.
And it's good to see this kind of caution given for anything head-related. And looks like maybe a parent for Miles is making her way over to the sideline.
Well, he's reacting to instructions, all right. So he's up and at him, and he's going to go down and have a little rest.
Yeah, and of course the protocols on concussions at the high school level, you have to be extremely careful. And all the direction is once a player receives training, once the trainer comes out, he does make his way off the field. Anytime there's a head injury, no matter what, you stop. You're seeing that across the board. We're seeing it. We saw it a couple times the other night, last night in the CBC Deschênes soccer game. Anytime somebody takes a knock to the head, you stop play. With what we know about concussions now, you have to be overly cautious.
It's a brain bruise, is what
it is. It's scary. I mean, when you look at especially, one is bad enough, but sometimes you get 2 or 3, and all of a sudden you're looking at damage that can't be undone.
Sure.
As we see, Mines are put through the extra point, so it is going to be 46-0 CBC, thanks to an 80-yard return from Kalen Taylor.
I mean, your brain is basically your personal computer that you carry with you at all the time, and it's like dropping it on the floor.
Yeah.
From about 5 feet. Luckily, all the years that I played, I don't believe I ever got one.
Yeah, I had one playing lacrosse, and let's just say that was the end of that.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to get injured in the booth than it is down on the field. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there.
So that is the second touchdown of the night for Kalen. So doing a nice job tonight. And again, we didn't see him much in the first quarter. And he's come in and had an impact when he has been in.
Well, again, back to Coach Pingle. I've seen that many times before where he'll kind of save some of these runners and save some of these kids that are, you wonder, gee, what happened? Is he hurt? He's not playing much. He's not giving them the ball. Next thing you know, you get to the third quarter and the fourth quarter, that's all is carrying the ball, and they're fresh as a daisy and then walking all over the opposition. It's but again, you have to have people that can take their place and start off doing that. And certainly CBC does have that.
And so here's Caleb Meinzer's kick, going to be from the 40, and again, as usual, the odds are it's going to be in the end zone, unless he misses it a little bit. No real wind to speak of tonight. It's been a beautiful evening. Just cool enough to think about a jacket, but not quite cool enough to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, the only wind I see is up here in the booth. And that's a warm wind.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. It's still everywhere else. And now, again, once DeSmet starts this possession, the clock will continue to run. And I think if you're DeSmet, you're not too upset about that.
No, I think they just like to get over to Jim and Jimmy John's for a little sandwich after her and go get some hot chocolate and something or other and forget about this game.
Yeah, try not to think about this ever again.
Right.
But of course, and as you mentioned, the cycles that you get, a couple down years for DeSmet, maybe we're just on the cusp of, but they will be back. And here you have the handoff from Effer. And the ball carrier brought down for no real gain.
Yeah.
That was Fowler on the carry.
DeSmet's offensive line just has no answer to CBC's defensive line right now.
Loss of 2 on the play. 2nd and 12.
So we mentioned in the first half, but we want to make sure you can follow us. It's on CSN, on Facebook and Twitter for information on upcoming broadcasts. On Facebook, it's Cadet Student Network, and on Twitter, it is at CBCCSN. Ball's down. Julian Fowler drops it, but is able to jump on it. So once again, on Twitter, it's at CBCCSN. So you can even tweet us right here in the booth. From the classroom to the court, from the field to the stage, if it's happening at CBC, you can find it on CSN. You can connect with us anytime. It's cbccadets.org/CSN.
Have you ever handled a football, Tom?
I have on the sideline, giving it back to somebody who knows how to do it.
It's not an easy task.
No, it isn't.
That was a quick little toss over to their running back off the left, and if you don't actually have soft hands with your fingers spread, ready to catch that ball. It's not an easy thing to handle. I'm always amazed that some of the quarterbacks can do those wondrous things with a football.
And here is the snap. Effer drops back. He's going to throw it over the middle. Wide open there that is number 87 again, Griffin Palmer, who has had a nice impact when he has made the catches tonight. He's made a few nice ones.
One of the few bright spots for DeSmet in this game tonight.
I would say so.
Griffin Palmer doing a nice job catching that ball. Nice crowd here tonight, Tom.
It is.
I wandered around a little bit at halftime. There was I don't want to say it's filled to capacity, but it was close to it. I mean, it was surprising.
Well, and the CBC fan section is in good spirits. Julian Fowler gets a gain of looks like about 1.5.
Well, I'm always amazed that the kids, I don't think they really watch the football game. They're kind of behind the stands, and they just kind of mill around the whole time.
Well, it's interesting. We fight this battle. I'm one of the moderators of our Student Leadership Council. We fight this battle with the student body. You know, a good number of them do want to be down there cheering for the game, and then the others want to be wandering around with, maybe friends from other schools, going over to the concession stand. So it's the place to be on Friday night in high school. That's why Friday nights in fall in high school are so much fun, because you go to the game, everybody's there. You know, people who go to your school, people who don't. It's just it's the event of the week.
I've been watching some of the fans below, and they're on their computers, they're on their devices, and they don't ever look up to see what's going on. It's a different era.
It is. It is. And I saw a study the other day that the average American switches forms of media, so from a computer to a tablet to a phone or whatever, 33 times in every hour.
33 times.
33 times in every hour. I have no idea where that number came from, and CSN does not stand behind its credibility, but I heard it, so I will pass it along.
Well, I used to play a little bit of Pong in my day.
And here is Effer looking deep, and a ball pops out. Almost a phenomenal catch from Griffin Palmer. We mentioned him a few times. He is a junior, so he will be back next year, and really has looked good tonight. Unfortunately, just hasn't gotten the the ball as often as I think he would like.
Yeah, good coverage on the play. He was about a foot taller than the defender, but gosh, he came down and they dropped the ball when he hit the ground. Now, I'm not sure that our defender didn't have something to do with that. It's too far for me to see that from here.
Well, at the very least, it wasn't catching a ball in a drill. It's catching a ball with a guy all over you, so that's a very tough catch to make. And the punt is nearly blocked, but it's a good one. Million calls fair catch and catches it out in his hands nice and soft, as you were talking about. See, the thing that amazes me is just being able to catch a kick, a wobbly kick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see Michael Million there. That kick was not spinning like a spiral. I mean, that was not a very nicely struck kick from a punting perspective, but it comes down right in his hands, no body behind it, just right out in the hands, and it doesn't even move.
Well, you have to keep your feet moving with short little steps with your fingers wide apart and your hands together. And I've seen some studies that showed that that is the proper thing to do. Even if you risk a fumble, a turnover, which isn't good, but you gain an average of 10 yards by not letting that punt drop and roll. So it's good for another 10 yards. You save your team 10 yards by making a fair catch on that ball, rather than letting it go and bounce.
And here's Caleb Allen, picks up 2 yards. CBC will take all the short gains they can get. Anything to, again, keep this clock running.
They have some of the 2s and 3s in there now.
Yeah, 46-0, you can afford to do that.
Absolutely.
And, of course, I mean, you never know. And we saw Quentin Wynn go down. Hopefully it's not as serious as we thought initially. But you get an injury to somebody, you got to bring anybody off the bench. Over here on the near side, we see Nick Wheeler in for CBC, the wide receiver.
Quarterback is still in, Blake Charlton, and Caleb Taylor. Kalen Taylor.
We got Kalens and Calebs abounding. Let's find it fun. There's 4 Jakes on the CBC varsity soccer team. So
4 Jakes?
4 Jakes. So sometimes you got 11 guys on the field and you got 3 or 4 of them with the same name.
Wasn't that the name of a movie years ago?
I have no idea.
Yeah, well,
I'll be honest.
I've been around a little longer than you have. I think the movie was Two Jakes and a Cowboy or something. I'm not sure exactly what that was about.
Well, they could make a movie about the 4 Jakes. And here's Kalen Taylor breaking
Spinning.
tackles.
Still
There's
going.
that spinning we were talking about. He broke about 3 or 4 of them and separates before finally being brought down. That was Alik Shelton bringing him down. Nice tackle from Shelton.
He's fun to watch.
He is. A little spark plug of a guy. And so it's 1st and 10 on the 34 of DeSmet. So CBC knocking on the door of the red zone again. Coach is calling in an audible. And Charlton hands it off. This is Taylor again. He gets around this near corner. He's got one man to beat. Good blocking there from Nick Wheeler, and that's another touchdown for Kalen Taylor.
And
so that is his 3rd of the night.
No yellow laundry on the field.
So 3 touchdowns for Kalen Taylor, and a really good block. It's so hard coming off the bench, cold. Nick Wheeler over here, he's a younger player, wide receiver. Comes in, and one of the first things he's called on to do is, block downfield, and did a nice job blocking. There was a little jersey grab, but he released right in time. So a good block from Nick Wheeler, which allowed Kalen Taylor to take it into the end zone. So Caleb Meinzer adds the extra point, and it's going to be 53-0 for CBC with 3:33 to go in the 3rd. There's a lot of threes up there.
Who would have thunk it?
And is it just me or a couple people heading to the exits down there? So CBC up to the lead. Once again, we would like to thank all of our sponsors here on CSN, like the Lab Gym on Manchester Road, Millpaws Piping and Supply, Let's Party Now Catering, and Guido's Pizzeria and Tapas. These loyal businesses make this broadcast possible, so be sure to support our sponsors. Again, Lab Gym on Manchester Road, Millpaws Piping and Supply, Let's Party Now Catering, and Guido's Pizzeria and Tapas, all friends of CBC and CSN. We'd also want to thank our Alumni Association and our admissions department who sponsor CSN. We certainly couldn't do it without their support. So with 3:33 to go in the 3rd, CBC up 53-0. And Caleb Meinzer's going to get set to put his laces through this one. And I think if you're DeSmet, the name of the game is just survive to the end of this one and get out of here. So here's the kick from Meinzer. And this is going to bounce out of bounds, so DeSmet will have their best starting field position of the night at the 40 for the procedure call and the kick out of bounds. Yeah, it's a mistake you don't see very often, but at the same time, when you kick off as often as Caleb Meinzer does, it's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, when I used to play the fantasy football games, I'd always, when I get the fantasy football games, when I used to play that, I'd always find a kickoff return team. I could get a bad team because they get kicked off to a lot.
Yep.
So you figure they're going to have a chance of scoring on that kickoff return a little bit more. I just tried to call Kristen Jeans. She's down there attending to Winton, and so far I have not been able to get to find out exactly what's the extent of his injury to his right ankle. That could be a real loss for CBC if he can't come back in a couple weeks.
And also injured, of course, Miles Taylor. Took a blow to the head, so.
And it's a penalty on the play. I don't know if it's roughing the. I don't know what that was about. Holding.
Yeah, it's going to be a hold on DeSmet.
Yep.
Who is losing the penalty battle tonight as well. CBC only penalized twice that I can recall.
I've never seen him only penalized twice this deep into the game.
No. Well, and it's a sign. I mean, we're getting to that point in the season where the early season excuses don't apply anymore. So you're getting a team that's played a lot of downs together, and that's one of the things, the number you should see going down. But of course, only 2. That's a phenomenal number.
Well, it may not. It may also be that perhaps the intensity level has dropped somewhat, and then of course when that happens, you're not going after things quite as hard. So consequently, the penalties aren't there either.
Well, and you talk about the intensity level, Pete, and you've done some sports psychology work, some kind of winning mentality work. So let me ask you, when you're a team that tends to blow out the opposition, obviously that's a good thing that you're putting in dominating performances. You're scoring a lot of points. You're shutting out teams that aren't used to being shut out. Can that start to affect the mentality of the team? And I'm particularly asking this with a view to later in the season and playoffs when you start getting in close games. Is there anything you can do as a team to try to maybe prevent that letdown of intensity, or to keep that level of competition up even though you're not engaged in close games throughout the season?
Well, that's up to the coaching staff, and I think one of the hard things to do sometimes is to keep that intensity level up when you're beating a team by 50 points or more. What you can do is you can, again, as I said before, put in the twos and threes and congratulate the other kids, and we got another game coming up. But in tennis, for example, I coach the tennis team for CBC, and if they're ahead 4-love, pretend that you're behind 4-love and keep that intensity level up. Get out there. You're not doing them any favors by kind of slacking down because you're feeling sorry for the other team. I don't know if that's an answer that makes any sense, but you just have to figure that you got to do everything as perfectly as you can, because not every game is going to be as easy as these last four.
And Effer scrambling around. He's going to run it, does dump it off, and again that's Griffin Palmer who brings it down. But when you're facing a 3rd and 20, you can pick up 11 yards, and it doesn't make a huge difference. So a nice catch by Palmer, and a good throw by Effer. Just a nice, ability to keep that play alive with his legs. And it's going to be another punt for DeSmet. And instead of Mike Millian, it looks like back to receive this will be I've got Trey Haynes on the roster.
Number 30.
Yeah, that's Trey Haynes.
The other thing is that the coaches can keep their intensity up by, if they're making a mistake, they're missing a block, you can come down on them. You can do the same thing as if you were behind by 30 points. Keeping that intensity level. The team does feed off the coaches. The coaches keep that intensity up, and they can't relax either.
And it is an intense group of coaches. You talk about, Scott Pingle is the most mild-mannered man you will ever meet off the football field, but when he puts that headset on, he is as intense as they come.
Absolutely. He's like Superman, a mild-mannered man from Metropolis, but I tell you, he gets out on that field, and he's intense. You're absolutely right.
So this timeout taken with 1 minute and 7 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. Well, we have a second. If you need an attorney, you want someone you can count on to protect your legal rights, the attorneys at Milliken Wright are here for you. Brian Milliken and CBC grad Chris Wright have fiercely represented the injured and accused in civil and criminal cases in the St. Louis metropolitan area for more than 15 years. Call Brian and Chris at 314-621-0622 or find Milliken Wright online at www.millikenwright.com. Milliken Wright will fight for you. And here's the punt. Another short one. Everybody away from it. It's going to bounce out of bounds in the CBC bench.
Yeah, it looks like about the 40-yard line of CBC. That's where they'll start. 41-yard line.
And it looks like we talked about Quentin Wynn sitting on the bench. Right next to him is Miles Taylor. So I don't know that we'll see either of them. I have really no reason to put either of them back in, even if they were reasonably playable.
Right now, there's no reason to play anybody from the first team. You do open up yourself to the slight chance of being hurt, and you got to keep your team together. I mean, CBC is deep, but a couple positions they are not.
And so CBC takes the field. Yeah, in at quarterback, we got a change at quarterback. This is going to be Brandon Douglas.
Yeah, he played a little bit last week also against Chaminade.
Of course, an important player. You got just a sophomore. Important to have those kinds of guys getting a few looks here and there just to get him up to the speed of the game, because you figure 2 years from now he could be the guy. And that is the end of the 3rd quarter. So after 3 quarters, CBC in the lead, 53-0. We mentioned that the class of 1989 is having their 25th reunion. We wish to congratulate them, and also sure they're probably enjoying this one. So, gentlemen, enjoy it.
Well, there is a very distinct rivalry between CBC and DeSmet, and there have been times when they don't like each other very much. Unfortunately, I kind of think, I get the feeling that maybe CBC is not exactly feeling sorry for them, but you know, they do know each other. These kids have played football together for many years in the little leagues. They played baseball again. There's a lot of friendships out there. Although I'm not sure how deep those friendships are from CBC to DeSmet and back the other way. I'm not sure about that.
But again, of course, you know, CBC on top maybe the last couple of years. I mean, you go back 2 years ago and you had DeSmet knock us out of the playoffs.
That's right.
You know, CBC beat them in the regular season, and they came back and beat us on our own turf.
That's right.
And so it does go both ways. Obviously, CBC with the clear advantage this year, but it works both ways.
It's a nice run. Put his head down. Number 2.
Yeah, Rudy Hamilton on the run there. Nice kid. You talk about nice kids. There's so many of them in the CBC. Rudy Hamilton, just another good example. What a great kid to have in class. Sits there, he's with you, everything you say. He's smiling, enjoying himself. One of those kids you really want to see do well. And a lot of them on this team. And here's the handoff. This is Gavon Burks.
Got some speed to him.
Yeah, he does. He takes it outside, and he's within about 3 or 4 of a first down. And it's going to be a hold against CBC. First holding we've had against CBC tonight.
Yes.
And they're going to be backtracked a little bit.
10 yards from the point of infraction.
So it's going to be 2nd down and looks like 13. With 11:09 to go in the 4th quarter. And everybody's set. Douglas is going to take the snap in the shotgun, and he's going to hand it off right away.
Number 2 again.
Yeah, it looked like Rudy Hamilton again.
Yep.
And he's not going to get too far, but a decent gain. So it's going to be 3rd down. 3rd down and about 6. CBC receiving more instructions from the bench. And they get set. Again, in the shotgun with single back. You got 3 receivers out right, 1 out left. And Douglas bobbles the snap initially, but does a nice job to get it off to Burks. And Burks picks up another 4 or so. And CBC is going to have a 4th down situation. We got a player down for DeSmet. Last thing you want to see right now. That it would appear to be, is that Drew McCoy again? Number 19?
19, it looks that way. 19 or 18, I can't.
Oh, Drew McCoy already went down once in this game, favoring that left arm. Remember, in the end zone.
Yeah, that's a shoulder.
So if that is McCoy.
Left shoulder.
That might be number 18. Can't quite see the number. It's right where the pad.
No, it's 19, yeah.
Is it 19? So it's McCoy again.
Yeah, those shoulders, once they go out, until the rehab takes effect, and they have those special little braces they can put on there, but shoulders are extremely painful.
Yeah, and they're working on the, looks like the left shoulder. That's the one he was favoring earlier, so you wonder if he did something and re-aggravated it there. You have to imagine twice is enough. The night's probably over. So 10 minutes to go. He's going to punt. Mines are back there to hit it. End over end. Caught by a backtracking Spartan. That was Marcus Davis catching the punt. That's a dangerous one to catch, end over end, right on your own 10-yard line.
Yeah, that one he might have.
I think you let that one go.
Yeah, you might have. The rule basically inside that 15, you don't catch it.
Oh, what's the rule? Stand on your 15. If you have to backtrack, don't get it. If you have step up, call fair catch.
Yeah, but you know these spongy turf there. It's on grass. The ball tends to bounce higher and harder. This stuff is very cushiony, and I've seen a lot of punts as you have, I'm sure. They come in high and they just kind of die right there, like they're landing in sand.
Got to be fun for the punters.
Well, I played on AstroTurf, which was kind of a carpet on cement. It's like playing football in your driveway. It wasn't fun.
Nope. Thank goodness we've come a long way from that. Of course, now you got the spongy effect. It's not just the turf, folks, but you probably know by now if you've been watching football a lot, the turf has a lot of rubber in it. The black you see there is it's almost like old tire. It's just this soft rubber that acts as a nice cushion. And I mean, you could step 1 foot on the field just to test it out. You're finding rubber 3 weeks later. All right, Effer drops it long. That is Griffin Palmer. That pass was defended nicely by a tag team of Namonte Hawthorne and Ryan Fogarty. Again, thrown into double coverage. And Griffin Palmer is a good receiver, but that's a tough one to bring down.
That was about 52 yards in the air, and it was dying at the end there.
It's an impressive arm. I'd be lucky to kick a ball that far. So inside 8 minutes to go. CBC again up 53-0 on DeSmet. And DeSmet facing a 3rd and 10 deep in their own territory. And Effer's going to take it, and he runs it up the middle for a gain of maybe 2. We'll see how generous they're feeling with the spot. And it's going to be a 4th down, another punt coming from DeSmet. So let me ask you, Pete, for CBC, what can you take from a game like this? Because obviously you're not being put under such a harsh examination. You're not really, sometimes you learn the most about yourself when you're really pressed by an opponent. What can you take away from a game like this? Do you take away anything, or is it just more of the same?
No, you can
CBC?
actually take away. I've always learned a lot more from my losses sometimes, individual sports and team sports, more than I have about the wins. First off, you can kind of see where the reserves, how they're playing, and kind of grade them. So you see how your blockers are doing, how your quarterback is performing, how your runners are doing. You can get a lot by that. And then from your starters, you can see where they're doing things absolutely 100% right and where they still have to work on things. So much has to do with looking at the film, looking at all the tape and seeing what you're doing. And then what you're doing right, let's accentuate that for the next game. And where we're not perhaps doing as well, how do we fix that? So the coaches have a lot to do on the weekends after these games, and they're studying these films and seeing what they can do. The life of a football coach just isn't coming out and having a good time on a Friday night. There's a lot of homework in dark rooms watching and grading and seeing what they can do to make it better. Now, you always learn a lot from watching the tape from a football game, regardless of who you win or lose.
And Pete, you mentioned some of those things that they did well, that they want to accentuate in the future, and some of the things that they're struggling with. Any speculation as to what those things are when the coaching staff sits down and looks at this game? Some of the things they did well that they're going to take away, and also some of the things they could improve.
Well, we've had a couple of drop passes. I think that's something that they can work with the receivers a little bit. Open your hands a little bit more. Don't turn your head or leave. Your eyes has to be watch that ball right into your hands. If you're missing a couple of blocks, why are you missing? Are you stop moving your feet? The quarterbacks, are you putting your feet in the right position? Is your footwork looking right? Are you throwing sidearm? Are you coming over the top where you should? It's all how close are you to the fundamentals, and how well are you doing as an end result. Sometimes you just have to go back to fundamentals.
And there you see the run from Rudy Hamilton, taking it up the middle near a 1st down. Not going to get it, though. They're about 2 yards short. So it'll be about 3rd and 2.
I remember Vince Lombardi, after a game that was a very poor game, he put the whole team in the meeting room, and he yelled at them for a while. He said, all right, we are going to start with fundamentals. I'm tired of this stuff. We are going to go right back to the fundamentals and start from there. And he goes to the desk, he pulls up a football, and he holds it up. He said, gentlemen.
From Justin Williams of CBC. Justin Williams, just a sophomore, 5'9", 185. And that's some power running right there from Justin Williams.
His feet just never stopped. They were like pistons and just go, go, go. From the other side, when I show that tape amongst the team of DeSmet has said, what the heck are you guys, why aren't you tackling this guy? Why are you just playing two-handed tag? That's what they did on that. Not to take anything away from the run, but still the tackling was pretty poor.
And insult to injury there for DeSmet. A penalty against them on top of the gain for CBC. And it's going to be 1st and goal here with 3:42 to go in this one. CBC up 53-0.
Well, it's going to be 60 here pretty soon.
And by the looks of things, it'd be hard to disagree with you, Pete. So we got a little bit of a hold up here. Play clock winding down. I don't think CBC's in any big hurry. CBC the only team that's taken a timeout in this half, and you feel that they probably aren't going to take another one. And here we go. We're set. So Brandon Douglas in the backfield in the shotgun with Rudy Hamilton to his right, Justin Williams to his left. He's got 3 receivers out wide. Hands it off to Rudy Hamilton.
Not this play.
And a nice tackle coming around the corner. Again, for DeSmet, we've seen a lot of good tackles from Alik Shelton. Alik Shelton is a senior this year. And you've seen him a lot of times coming in, making stops in the backfield. So when they have gotten penetration on the defensive side and have made a good stop, Alik Shelton has been there for most of it.
Yeah, and they've also got DeAndre Andrews in there. The 420-pounder is in there on defense now in their goal line defense.
Yeah, so I don't know that running right up the middle is going to be an option here. At least if I'm Justin Williams or Rudy Hamilton, I'm looking across the line thinking maybe I'll take it maybe off of the guard instead of inside of him.
That's a touchdown.
And that's a touchdown for Rudy Hamilton. There is a flag down on the field.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a
motion.
Hold. Yeah, no, I think it's a false start. Holding.
Oh, it's a hold against DeSmet.
Oh. And you figure, how do you get a holding on defense when it's not a pass play? How do you figure
goal line? Goal line run.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at that and say, no, it's got to be against CBC. That was a wrong.
Okay, that was an official's error.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. How you can't get a holding play.
All right, so now it's 2nd and goal. CBC backed up to the 9-yard line. I'm sorry, the 14.
Again, you got all 2s and 3s here in on there now.
All right, 2 minutes to go here. Of course, no 2-minute warning. So we're going to keep playing. CBC taking their time. Play clock down to 3. They might want to get this play off anytime soon. And they just barely get it off. Hand off to Justin Williams. And this is going to be a touchdown. It is.
Yep.
It is. It's a touchdown for Justin Williams. So a good run from Justin Williams. And what a power runner we're seeing in him. This is really the first extended look I've gotten at him so far, and really showing a lot of promise.
A lot of speed, a lot of bravery. It's hard to run up the middle and go 100% the speed as much as you can, because it's kind of like running through a wall. I mean, can you do that? You see a brick wall, can you put your head down and run through a wall? I never could. It hurt too much. These guys are just fearless.
And a good kick from Meinzer, and that makes it 60-0 for CBC.
Not exactly the closest of games we've looked at this year, but it seems like pretty much all the games have been like this.
And so that is going to be 1 minute and 45 seconds to go. CBC up to a 60-0 lead. And you got to say, it doesn't get much more demoralizing, I guess, for DeSmet. You get a penalty against CBC, you back them up, and then they run it in anyway.
Well, again, the kids that are getting in where they normally wouldn't get in on both sides, they can go to their dad tonight and say, "Hey, Dad, I got in the game. What do you think? How did I do?" And regardless of whether they won or lost, that's the fun part of football. Is now they can play before their parents. I mean, they're out there, every day, 2-3 hours practicing during the heat of the summer, the cold of the winter, all this. And a lot of these kids don't ever get a chance to play. This is one chance where they do get to play. So if there's an upside to this, both of the teams get a chance to play their reserves. And that's good. That's a good thing.
That's a great point. Of course, these kids not just practice, but also film meetings. Sometimes, during the activity period, you talk about all the things these guys are doing. Their homework. They're all staying on top of their work as well. So it is these kids are busy, and football, of course, the huge time commitment that it is, it's nice to see them rewarded for that.
Well, you know, all the sports are pretty much like that, whether it's soccer or tennis or whatever. These kids didn't put a lot of time in, and then when if they play in college like my kids do, well, it's like a job. I mean, it's 25 hours a week, and yeah, the pay's pretty good with the scholarships and all that, but it's not easy, and you give up a lot of social events because so many of the events are on the weekends. And if you join a fraternity or a sorority, you know, you're giving up half of those activities too. Because I kind of enjoy it because I don't have to write the checks for all that tuition. That's kind of nice.
That's a side benefit.
Oh yeah.
And with 1:04 to go, DeSmet's just going to run it. Let's see what happens. That time with the ball carrier was Ryan Russell, and now we're inside of a minute, and you'll probably see another run. So CBC will feel very good about the way they're playing this year, going into a game against St. Louis University High School next weekend. Following that, it'll be a fun matchup against Christian Brothers High School in Memphis.
That's right.
CBHS, a fellow LaSallian school, a brother school, will be coming up for a homecoming game on October 10th. So Friday, October 10th. It'll be something you don't want to miss. Of course, we received words that both teams will be doing a joint prayer service before the game, sharing our LaSallian identity with each other and LaSallian mission. So really cool things coming up for the football cadets here.
I think that Memphis team will probably have as much or perhaps even more speed than our team. We'll have to see how that works out.
And that's going to do it. The clock's going to wind down inside of 10, and nobody's going to do anything to stop it. So the game finishes with a 60-0 win for CBC. And, of course, after a game, we always have to talk about who the MVP of the game was. Yep. And I think there's really only one choice for us, Kalen Taylor.
Yep,
3 touchdowns, even more of an impact, you know, in addition to the touchdowns, just the speed he provided, the quickness, the cutting ability, and just had DeSmet guessing all night. So Kalen Taylor with the touchdown.
Well, Caleb Allen in the first half, he did an awfully good job too. He was a little bit more power runner, not as quick, but what a nice compliment.
Well, I think you look at the setup. You know, Caleb Allen, you know, really running at him, and then you throw Kalen Taylor, who instead of running at you, will juke around you. Sure. And all of a sudden, it's a complete paradigm shift for the defense, where they have to learn to defend a completely different type of runner. So it's a huge difference if you are a DeSmet defender when you have a running back tandem like that. So nice job by Caleb Allen of setting it up, and a tremendous job by Kalen Taylor taking advantage. And now one of the coolest things about CBC, you're going to want to see the football team coming over. You may have seen this after games, but the football team's going to come over to the student section. They do this after every game. And in case you've wondered what they're doing, they're coming over for the Pledge to My Brother. Okay, it's a prayer we say often. It's a prayer that goes as follows. I am one, but I am not the only one. I can do some things, but I can't do everything. What I can do, ought to do, by the grace of God, I will do. For my God, for my school, for my brothers, all for all, God for us all, Christian Brothers on the Move, St. John Baptist de La Salle. Pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever. So enjoy this this neat moment between the CBC team and the student body.
Yeah, a very unique kind of a thing that CBC does.
Here it is, and these boys look forward to it all week. You see the team sprinting over, and here they go. So we're going to leave you with that image from Pierre Labarde Stadium here at CBC as the Pledge to My Brother is recited by the CBC team. We want to thank you for joining us. For all of us here at CSN, we want to thank you for being with us. Pete, thanks for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
And for all of us here, our student staff, Max Adamski, Tristan Bear, William Kratz, Charlie Hines, Henry Hines, Bryson Schroeder, Josh Williams. We want to thank you for joining us. We'll see you another night. Stay tuned, and thanks for joining us here on the Cadet Student Network.